Good evening. The Red Bank Zoning Board of Adjustment will come to order this 18th day of June, 2026. The time is 6:35. Roll call, please.
Ann Torrey,
Here.
Raymond Mass.
Here.
Greg Fitzgerald, absent. John Gilday,
Here.
Anna Cruz, Vincent Light,
Here.
Paul Cagno, absent. Eugene Horowitz, Chris Havens, Dorothy Cerullo, here. Rebecca Flynn, absent. Thank you.
Okay, in accordance with New Jersey law, this meeting notice has been published in the Asbury Park Press and the Two River Times and is available on the municipal website and the New Jersey Secretary of State's website. It is also posted on the municipal bulletin board. This meeting complies with the Open Public Meetings Act and will be tape recorded. If the applicant chooses to use a court reporter to transcribe the recordings, the board requires a copy of the transcript. A break will occur around 8 p.m. in the conference room on the first floor. The public is welcome to attend, but discussion with board members will not be allowed. No new case will be heard after 9 p.m., and the cutoff time is 9:30 p.m. Any applicants not heard will be rescheduled for next meeting. Pledge of Allegiance.
The flag.
Okay, we have a couple administrative matters to take care of. Approve the meeting minutes from May 21st. I have a motion.
Vince?
You could just say A. Yes. Yeah.
All in favor?
Yeah, aye. All opposed. Okay, we also have a resolution of approval for 273 Shrewsbury Avenue. Mr. Kennedy.
Mr. Chairman, that was the Thrive resolution. That was Jackie, an approval of an amended use variance application. The amendments included some of the units became a little bit smaller, and also the therapist was a therapist not just for people to reside in the building, but for everyone. We had a rather extensive and intensive conversation, and I tried to capture all the pros and cons of the argument. And a lot of conditions which were discussed at length during the hearing process. And this resolution was initially set out about a month and a half ago and then reset out. So I think everyone's had a chance. So if it's acceptable to the board, we can adopt that as presented.
And thank you for keeping it under 100 pages. I'll make a motion to approve. Second.
You should do a
Go around.
specific roll call
Yeah,
on
roll
that one.
call.
Ann Torrey,
Yes.
Raymond Mass.
Yes.
John Gilday,
Yes.
Anna Cruz, Vincent Light,
Yes.
Eugene Horowitz,
Yes.
Chris Havens, Dorothy Cerullo. Thank you.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the annual reports from 2022 to 2024? I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
I think all in favors.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, new business. We have 199 and 205 Broad Street.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, a couple of preliminary procedural things. As the applicant's team comes forward, you'll recall we previously accepted notice and jurisdiction on this file, and I think there was a request that it from a month ago or 2 weeks ago that it be adjourned. So we extended notice to tonight. And what we're going to do is we're going to swear in our two witnesses. So we have Jackie Durman, our board engineer, and Dan Halbin. Dan, good evening and welcome. Dan is a planner from our board engineer's office. So Dan and Jackie, if you could just raise your right hands and say, do you both swear that that the information and testimony you're about to provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge to help you God. Okay, let the record reflect that Jackie, as our board engineer, has been sworn, as well as Dan, our board planner. And what we're going to do is we're going to, there's a lot of information in the file, so we're going to officially mark most of these pieces of evidence or most of these documents into evidence. So the application package, we're going to mark as A1. And then A2 is the preliminary and final site plan prepared by Kennedy Consulting Engineers dated February 14th, 2025, last revised July 28th, 2025, consisting of 8 sheets. A3 is the architectural plan. Sorry? Oh, got it. So A3 is the architectural plan prepared by AHD and Company Architecture and Interiors dated February 25th, 2025, consisting of 18 sheets. A4 is the project narrative. A5 is the traffic and parking study prepared by Dynamic Traffic dated December 18th, 2025. A6 is the stormwater management report prepared by Kennedy Consulting Engineers dated July 28th, 2025. A7 is the transmittal letter prepared by Rick Brodsky, who's sitting at the council table. He's the attorney for the applicant, and that was dated December 22nd, 2025. A8 is a summary of variances. A9, excuse me, is our Red Bank Green development checklist. A10 is going to be the T&M Associates Review Memorandum dated March 25th, 2026. That's the right date, Jackie, right? Okay. And then A11, we're going to mark as the intent to proceed. And A12 is disclosure of ownership number 1. And A13 is disclosure of ownership number 2. So just for the record, the documents suggest that there's 2 applicants. One is 205 Broad Street LLC, and another is 199 Broad Street LLC. So for members of the public, whenever we're dealing with a corporation or an LLC, for transparency purposes, we like to put on the record who the principals are so that if one of you says, well, that's my cousin, that's my friend, that's a client of mine, we can disclose that or learn that. And the disclosure of ownership forms indicate that the individuals who have a 10% or greater interest is John Smallwood and or the John Smallwood Investment Trust. So for record-keeping purposes, hearing those names, 205 Broad Street LLC or 199 Broad Street LLC or John Smallwood or Smallwood Investment Trust, does that create any issues or questions or concerns about conflicts or potential conflicts? Don't see any. Very good. And with that, we will, and with the chair's consent, we will turn it over to Rick Brodsky, attorney for the applicant.
Thank you. Okay, what about A6?
A6 was a stormwater management.
Got it, got it.
And then what I don't know, if I saw any specific interagency reports, so we'll get them in a little bit.
Yeah, we received a few today.
Okay, so why don't you, do you have them handy? You can tell me what they are?
Yes, what we have. So we have a report from the Environmental Commission.
All right, we'll mark that as A14. And do you know what date that was?
Yeah, I'll tell you
It
one.
might just be an email.
1 second.
March 2nd.
March
Okay.
2. Hold on.
All right,
And that is a
14.
14. Okay. And then we had Shade Tree Commission.
Okay, that'll be A15. That date is, you see it?
February 9th.
February 9th, 2026. Okay,
Okay. And HPC, Historic Preservation Commission.
all right, that'll be A16 HPC, and I believe that was dated today, correct?
June 17. Yep.
June 17th, okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Rick Brodsky on behalf of the applicants, 199 Broad Street and 205 Broad Street LLC, respectively. And not surprisingly, the application pertains to the properties located at 199 Broad Street and 205 Broad Street. The application before you this evening seeks preliminary and final site plan approval with variances to permit the construction of a couple of things on these two sites. What's proposed are permission to construct additions to the two existing buildings at 199 and 205, as well as a proposed connection of the two buildings have them function as a single, to have the two function as a single office building, which of course is a permitted zone in the PO zone. Also proposed, and we'll go through that in more detail, also proposed for the site are 6 residential units, a separate building at the rear, towards the rear of the site, for 6 residential units with first-level garages at the rear of the property, which we'll go through, as well as associated improvements for parking, walkways, lighting, landscaping, revisions to the underground stormwater management system. So we come here this evening by way just of a little background. Mr. Smallwood, who was mentioned earlier by Mr. Kennedy, purchased the first building back in about 2012 or so, and he's been operating his financial planning business there since that time. So, 14, 15 years or so. More recently, a few years ago, Mr. Smallwood, through another LLC, the building next door became available, and he saw that as an opportunity to do something creative here in town, and he purchased 205. Moment, he runs I wouldn't call it a family business, but he does have a number of family members working there, as well as a number of other employees, many of whom work remotely, most of the time are out on the road meeting clients who are utilizing their financial planning services. Mr. Smallwood is very passionate about the project, very passionate about Red Bank, and very passionate about doing something that is, a little unique and a little forward-thinking, and something that also kind of brings some more pedestrian and other traffic down to that part of town. What you'll hear when we go through the testimony is that there are a couple of variances that we do need as part of the application, and those are a variance for density with respect to the 6 residential units. There is also a variance for minimum floor area for the apartments. There are a couple of apartments that are less than the 600 minimum square foot required as part of the design. And there's a parking deficiency, and you'll hear from the traffic engineer on the details of that. So the ordinance requires 62 parking spaces with what's proposed, and based on with the EV credit, the application proposes 40 spaces with the EV credit. in addition to the existing on-site, off-site, on-street parking. We'll hear from our traffic engineer on that in terms of what we think is a really good symbiotic traffic sharing, parking share perspective. There are some existing conditions, existing nonconformities that would be removed as part of the application if the application were to be approved. And you'll hear about that from our site engineer as well as our planner. And there are a number of existing nonconformities with regard to mostly signage, as well as a couple of existing side setback variances, some of which will go away, some which will remain basically unchanged by virtue of what is being proposed as part of the project. So I think that kind of gives the board a little bit of background as to the nature of the application, the thought process behind it, and what John Smallwood envisioned when he saw the opportunity to purchase this second building, which while not listed as an historic building, you know, is an older construction, and of course, John has no desire to tear it down. On the contrary, people had suggested, oh, you can tear it down, make more parking, do other things. That's not what he's about. And so he came up with this sort of creative design, which he and the team are excited about. So what I'd like to do, unless the board has any questions, I'll start off with Mr. Smallwood come up, just give the board a little background, also a little more detail with respect to the operation, his business operation, which I alluded to earlier. We then have with us tonight Andrew Comey, who is the project engineer. He'll be our second witness. We will also have our architect who will discuss the architecture, Anastasia Harrison. She will be our third witness. We then will have John McCormick will be our traffic engineer. And then our final witness for the evening would be our professional planner, Kristen Shepard. So unless the board has any questions.
I do. Do you have a copy of the comments from the Historic Preservation Committee? Because
Yes.
we haven't seen it. I haven't seen it.
I got them earlier today. I don't know if I have an extra copy, but great. Yeah.
Sure. Copies. Thank you.
Rick, can I just ask a couple real quick preliminary? Are those three exhibits, are they already in our package?
No, those are new exhibits that
Right.
we can
Wanna
go
mark
ahead
them
and
now?
mark. Yeah, I mean, I think they're self-explanatory.
Okay, so the first one will be A17, and if you could just, what is A17?
A17 is delineated as, it's Exhibit A? Exhibit A, which is the front of the two proposed buildings.
All right, and that's prepared by,
That's prepared by our architect's office.
okay, and is there a date on it, or we'll just put today's date?
There is a date on it, 6/16.
6/16/26, okay. And what about A18?
A18B would be, I guess, it's also the front from just a little different perspective.
Okay,
Same date, same preparer, Anastasia Harrison Design and Company.
okay, and then A19?
A19 is shown created as C, same date, And that shows the proposed 6-unit apartment building that I had referenced earlier, proposed for towards the rear of the property.
Okay, thank you. And then, Mr. Chairman, just a couple of things for board members, new board members, and our new board secretary, and members of the public who maybe don't come to as many zoning board hearings. So this is a use variance application. So in this situation, Charlene, when we ultimately vote, only 7 board members will vote. So we have 8 tonight, so everyone can question, comment, make statements. But if we vote tonight, only 7 members vote. And the other thing is, with this type of use variance or D variance application, the law says that in order for it to be approved, they need at least 5 affirmative yes votes. So unlike other scenarios where majority wins, in this situation, the prevailing state statute says in order for this application to be approved, they need 5 affirmative yes votes. So just keep score at home for that. And the final thing is, Mr. Chairman, since we have some members of the public, can I just real briefly explain the general rules so that can facilitate the process? It's awesome that interested members of the public have come here. And this is a quasi-judicial hearing. And that word is a sort of a funny word, quasi-judicial, and it means different things to different people. But generally speaking, what everyone agrees it means is that we have to act sort of like a court. And we have to be very official and very procedurally oriented. That is why we are marking things into the record. That's why we swear in the witnesses, so we just don't get up and start hearing from someone. We're going to have his or her professional qualifications vetted, make sure they're current and up to date. And the way the process works is, generally speaking, when the witness comes forward, board members will pretty much ask questions whenever they want. And when Mr. Brodsky is concluded, the chairman will then open it up to the public. And that is the opportunity for the public at this point to ask questions of the witness based upon what the witness stated. So it is important, let's just say the witness is the architect. And if your question is all about traffic, you really can't ask. And if you do ask, it's okay, but the architect's going to say, I'm not qualified to answer the traffic questions. Likewise, you wouldn't ask architectural questions to the traffic engineer. And the other thing is, at that point, it's just asking questions. And then we'll go to Mr. Brodsky's next witness. And again, board members will ask. And then when he is concluded, it'll be opened up to questions from the public for that witness based upon that area. And then at the end, after Mr. Brodsky has totally completed his case, if there's any other case or any other presentations we'll have, but at that point, members of the public will be given an opportunity to not just ask questions, but to make statements. And that's your opportunity to say, I love the project, or I'm not in love with this project, or I would like the project so much more if you did X or Y or Z. And Mr. Chairman, sometimes when we have our halftime breaks, sometimes members of the public come up to me and they're like, you seem like a nice guy, but why don't you just let me get up and talk? And the reason is because this process is the judicially recognized and judicially condoned process. And if we don't follow this process, and if there was an appeal, the judge would likely find that our whole process was arbitrary, capricious, and unreasonable. And so we have to sort of do things through that process. So I know sometimes it's annoying and sometimes it's frustrating, but this is the, judicially time-tested process. So with that, Mr. Chairman, let's turn it over to the first witness.
First, anybody have any questions for Mr. Brodsky?
Just one for clarification. You mentioned apartments. These will be rentals, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Brodsky? Public have any questions for Mr. Brodsky? Don't see any. Your next witness, please.
Okay, let's have Mr. Smallwood step forward.
This is on? Great.
Yes, good evening and welcome to the Red Bank Zoning Board. If you could just state your name and address for the record.
John L. Smallwood, 46 Conover Lane, Red Bank, New Jersey.
Okay, welcome to the Red Bank Zoning Board. Do you swear that the information and testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, to the best of your knowledge, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
And just for the record, you are the principals of the 199 Broad Street LLC and 205 Broad Street LLC?
Yes, sir.
And you're also a principal of the Smallwood Investment Trust?
Yes.
Very good, thank you.
Well, principal's not the right term, but
Okay,
beneficial owner.
got it.
Yeah. Okay, John, if you would, you heard what my little brief description of well, your vision and your operation of the
Yes.
business. Let's start with the vision. Let's start with the vision first in terms of what your mindset was when you acquired the second property, you know, what your thought process, your intent, and you know, your desired outcome in just a little more detail. And then we'll talk a little bit about the actual operation, hours of operation, numbers of employees, things like that.
Okay. First of all, I want to say thank you for everyone here tonight, and I want to get as much information out as I possibly can. Prior to 2012, my wife and I were looking to relocate our firm out of the across from the Americana Diner and those older buildings, looking for a special place. We made offers and bids on 12 to 13 places. They were in bad shape. We found 199 Broad, which is a 1904 Queen Anne Victorian that was in horrific shape, but it was level. And I have a blog up. It's called 199broad.com, which has all the before and after photos of what we did in that space. And what we wanted to do was to turn it back into a beautiful Queen Anne Victorian home that looked like a home but operated as an office. And when I went through the entire process, we put as much parking, we only needed 10 or 11 spots at the time. We put the 26 parking spots because we felt that was in compliance with what was happening. When I was acquiring the property, the gentleman who did the survey took me aside and said, I should level the property. It's a giant piece of crap, quote unquote. And I said, you must not understand much about a 1904 property. And also it's a 60-foot wide lot. If that property was destroyed, you would have a very narrow, long building on that space. So long story short, we renovate that property. The Historic Preservation Society has granted us an award for historic preservation in an area where we did not need to do so, okay? We have a lot of pride. We have a lot of ownership. Everybody who comes into the building loves the building. People drive by, they stop in, they see the building. I had a very friendly relationship with the woman next door, Karen Herrick, who owned that property for many, many years. And when she was ready to sell it, I said, I would love to buy it. That is an 1895 Victorian as well. And it was in pretty bad shape. We do have photos, but the blog is not up yet. We have partially restored the interior of that space. We took the drop ceilings down. We took all the rugs up, all of the linoleum up, and we took the weights and balances in the windows and restored them back to what it was, okay? And our vision is to have a really comfortable place to work, to be able to walk to the downtown. And as we all know, my end of 199, my end of Broad Street, a lot of the businesses do not survive because there's not enough foot traffic during the day and the evening. It's all down by the Broadwalk. And that's been an ongoing area. So when we were able to acquire the property, I thought, what a great opportunity to put some apartments in the back that are small, have some garage space, have a little bit more office space so that you could be more part of the community. But most people don't want to go into downtown Red Bank because they fear parking. With the on-street parking and the parking that we have, there's plenty of parking, and people love to come. So that's kind of the vision.
And I wanted to, any questions for Mr. Smallwood on that aspect of it? We're going to talk about the business operations in a moment.
Yeah, could you clarify the last part about the parking and who that benefits?
The parking, when people visit to come to an office in Red Bank, they don't have parking, right? So you have to park somewhere and walk to it. People can park in our back lot. They can park on the street. It's very easy to get into the office. So people are very happy that we're not in downtown, but we're right there and there's plenty of parking. And we've, in the, what is it, 13 years that I've been in the building, or 12 years, 15, 13 years? 13 years that we've owned it. We've never had a parking issue except when we do a holiday party. We have people parking in the overflow lots to our left and in the church parking lot because we have a great relationship with them. But we do beautiful parties. We've had the Red Bank Classic. We've had a food truck there. It's been great. So
And-
did I answer?
Yeah, I understand
Yeah.
now. Thank
So
you.
people, it's very easy to park because our density in the way we operate. Oh,
Yep. And so I guess it's a good segue, John, into the way you operate the business. So what's going on now in terms of number of employees, what their work habits are, clients that come, or you meet off-site, or people working remotely, that kind of thing?
So right now we have approximately 13 employees, including myself. 3 of them are 100% remote, North Carolina, Virginia, and Chicago. We have a policy where the people I have one also in Philadelphia who has a remote office there. They never come to the office. We have the rest of the staff is there, but we have a policy where we allow people to work remotely a few days a week based on their schedule and what they're doing. Then we have 4 advisors. I'm one of the advisors, and I work in 27 states, 28 states, and a lot of my day is on Zoom. But we also have probably, if we're going to have 4 appointments in a day, 2 to 3 will be Zoom, 2 to 3 will be in person, depending upon the flow and where they are coming from. And the younger advisors who are in the firm, they have a very similar schedule where we have 3 conference rooms downstairs so people can meet with clients or do a Zoom meeting. And it's a very open area. And as we expand, it seems like we're expanding with virtual as opposed to, in person.
Got it.
But we have, the way the space is, there's plenty of room for it.
And are you open Monday through Friday or Monday through Saturday?
Monday through Friday.
Okay,
And Fridays at 2 in the summer, we're all out of there.
got it. Okay. And what about hours of operation?
We typically, we start seeing clients at around 9. People arrive to the office around 8:30. And we typically are out of there by 5:30 or 6 o'clock, unless you have 1 or 2 late meetings, which happen.
Questions for Mr. Smallwood?
Yeah, you had mentioned that increasingly your clients are meeting you virtually. Do you just roughly have a rough split of how many clients you have virtual versus those who drive to your office to meet you?
We could get the exact count, but right now, if I look at my average week where I have about 15 appointments, half of them are virtual and half of them are in person.
All right, thank you.
So it's about 50-50, but if you really want me to check, I can get that actual.
No,
number for
that's
you.
fine.
Yeah.
With the addition of the other house, are you expecting to hire a lot more people?
Well, what we're expecting to do there is with the bridge to have that as more of like a larger conference room area, and to have bigger, more open space. Right now, our offices are very tight. I have 3 advisors and I don't know what size that square foot is, but it's really small. It's a really small room. They're on the phone. We want to have more open space there, but we also want to provide in 205 a couple of smaller suite style offices that will appeal to small business type of people, accountants, attorneys, or something to that nature. that are looking for space. Because people are also, most people are tired of being stuck in their home all day and they want to go out to a nice place and work. So we're envisioning smaller, low-density type businesses occupying it. If it was the Fort days, when the Fort was open, you'd have a bunch of engineers that would be working in and coming out. You could have the same thing. You could have production people that are there as it modifies. But we're thinking of it as smaller suites that are available. If it's, I don't know what the exact square footage is, but 1,500 square foot spaces that would house 3 to 4 people.
So if I can just clarify, that means some of the space at 205 would be renting out to
Other businesses, yes. Other professionals that were complementary in some way, or we're seeing a lot of, private equity firms that don't see clients at all, but want office space. So there could be 3 to 4 advisors. There's hedge funds that are like that too. We're not looking, I don't want 800 cars there in a day, personally. So, but we want to have enough space for people, sorry.
Sorry, are you done?
Yeah, sorry.
I have a question. You mentioned you wanted to provide some apartments within the area. Now, Red Bank has some, standards. So my big question to you is, why did you pick 6, which triggers the D5 variance, as opposed to a smaller number of units?
What we were trying to do is to restore the property back to the grand vision of the way properties used to be, where you had small carriage house type properties in the back of the property. William Sutton was the owner of the property. He was a mayor of Red Bank, and his father was the mayor of Red Bank, and he was a dry goods merchant, and he had a whole bunch of businesses in downtown. Most of those houses had a carriage house in the back. So what we were looking for is, when we looked at the spread and we saw, okay, now we have 120 feet, can we make a really nice looking carriage house? How many apartments can we get? I thought 8, the architect said 6. So.
Well, one of the other standards that you're deviating, and maybe we'll go into this later, is also the minimal habitable square footage. So that's another variance you're requiring. If you went to 4 units and made them larger, you would not need several of the variances.
True. And I will defer to the experts on
But
that.
as the owner of the property, you don't have a feel for 4 versus 6.
I sort of do. What we were looking for is some smaller units that you could effectively, if you're building the same way, you could offer them at a lower price point. As you know, the pricing on apartments in Red Bank is pretty darn expensive. So by having the same square footage and having a couple more apartments, technically you could have a better priced apartment. I don't know what the full math is because we don't have the building cost yet, right? But the idea was, have them nice, have them livable, have them in a great environment, have them look good. If you wanted to have 4 units, you would need less variances, but you would now have larger apartments and a different type of product. It's looking for what can be optimal on the space, and there are different formulas that you would do if you were going to do 6 versus 4 in this.
So less apartments, higher rents.
It would be higher rents, which, I mean, it would be good, but we're also trying to, we kind of think of it as a person that's going to work in the community that's younger, or that's worked in the community for a long time, that needs a small place. Maybe they go to Florida, maybe they don't. Yeah, we don't know who the tenants are yet. Not sure of that. We think it'll appeal to people because it has a relatively nice look and feel to it, that has that carriage house look and feel. You're going back in time. We're not, we're trying to look good. Did I answer?
Okay. Other questions from the board?
Just one, I wanted to follow up on Ann's question. You clarified that some of the spaces in, is it 205? Did I get that right, Broad? Would be rented out to other firms. But I think the one space that would be used by your firm was like a conference space, right?
So what we're envisioning is that Smallwood Wealth Management will continue to operate 199, occupy that entire building, and we will spill into the bridge. And we will expand into the bridge area that goes between that. The 205 will get a slight bump out at the back, and that most likely that will be rented out to other businesses depending upon our expansion. We actually currently reduced some of our staff and size and in favor of virtual, and it just was better for the things that we were trying to do. But we also see potentially we could be spilling into that space also with more admin type people as opposed to sales side.
Okay, so I was under the impression that the bridge was like a passageway between the two buildings, but when you say spill into the bridge, do you mean there would be usable like office space in the bridge as well?
I forget the exact square footage. Is it about 1,000
We'll have
square
the
feet?
architect go through it.
Okay,
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
about, it would be a really wonderful conference room and/or like right now in the building where that is bumped out, the space that's on this in the front of it, that's kind of bumped out, that's 2 bedrooms that were combined in the house. We have 6 people in that office. Preferably, we'd rather have those people in a little bit larger space and have the other rooms converted into smaller conference rooms for client meetings or individual offices for the advisors so they get some privacy.
okay, I understand. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and the architect will go into the floor plan in detail so you can envision it.
Any other questions from the board for Mr. Smallwood?
I have a quick one, and it may be a little out of sequence, but would you or your firm manage the rental property?
Yeah, someone on my team will manage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great, thanks.
Okay, any questions from the public for Mr. Smallwood? Come on up. Grab a microphone.
And you know what we're going to do? We're going to have you say your name and address. We'll swear you in. And every other time you get up, if you get up, you don't have to get sworn in again. You just state your name. So your name and address, please.
William Hardigan, 122 Hudson Avenue. I'm a direct abutting property to the proposed project.
All right. And you spell your last name.
Hartigan.
All right. Good evening. Do you swear that the information and testimony you're about to provide, to the extent you provide any, will be the truth, to the best of your knowledge, to help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
I guess, the question I have is, obviously, why do you need the variances for this project, and you can't comply with the existing ordinance? Is it to, maximize profits? Because you did just mention that you wanted 8, but your architects, recommended you do 6. Is that the goal is to maximize the profits that way?
I thought you.
When you build something, you do want to have a return on investment. So whether you build 4 apartments or 6 apartments, you're going to make a return on investment. So if you're going to build a smaller place, it'll be a smaller investment. You'll make a return on that. So what we were more looking for is the aesthetics and how it would look on the property, and would it look natural or would it look forced? And when Anastasia and I.
Hold on. Charlene, is the mic picking him up? All right, it is. Okay, thank you.
Yep, it is. I have to take it close to my mouth. I'm very sorry about that. So the idea was that when we were looking at the optics, we wanted to look right. We didn't want it to look like it didn't belong. So we were trying to get the space to be full and beautiful within that space. So that's why it's 6. And we were looking at it and saying, okay, it could be longer. And then we have different setbacks and complying with that.
All right. So basically it's to maximize with trying to keep the look that you think would.
Right. I'm about the look and feel of it. And the rental
And
income, it has to make
profits.
sense. I mean, it has to make sense.
So you weren't able to figure out a way to basically conform to the existing ordinance and still make the profits that.
There are ways that we could do it, and it's really ugly, and I don't think you'll like it. Seriously.
I also have you mentioned the parking and I just want to clarify. You said you used the church parking lot for overflow for an event or something?
Yeah, I had a holiday party. I had about 150 clients come to the office. And Bob Silver, who owns the church I guess he's would be to your left, looking at the back.
Yeah, I know
Right.
Bob.
So he was very gracious and he said, you can use some of our parking for your people. And matter of fact, in November of 2014, when we had our grand opening event to celebrate it, which was a holiday party, our parking lot was not done. So he allowed us to use his parking. And that's the 2 times that we've actually used his parking.
Yeah, I asked the question because you do need a parking ordinance, and if you had used it for, you needed overflow for something else, you're going to have less parking that's required by the ordinance.
Yeah, but it's only if it's an event, like if we had an event,
Okay.
which
Think
Yeah.
you might have an event.
we could have an event. We can have a pickleball tournament. I don't know, whatever you want to do.
I guess that's it for my questions for now.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the public? Oh, Mr. Moss.
Good evening, Mr. Moss. If you could just state your name and address for the record.
Thank you, Mr. Brodsky. We'll do that again. Kevin Moss at 115 Hudson Avenue.
All right, good evening and welcome back. Do you swear that the information and testimony you're about to provide, to the extent you provide any, will be the truth, to the best of your knowledge, to help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
First, I'd like to compliment Mr. Smallwood on the restoration of 199
Thank you.
of Broad Street. That was a terrific job. Well done.
Thank you very much, sir.
The first thing I want to get into was back to your characterization of the pedestrian traffic in the area. Now, you're 4 lots, as I understand it, from the post office. There's the Belltel, there's a dental, then there's a parking lot.
Parking lot.
And
for
then it's-
parking, yes.
The parking lot's 195 and then 199, which is yours. So
Correct.
there's a lot of pedestrian traffic at the post office.
Yes,
Going-
but it goes to the post office and leaves.
I
I mean, people go to the post office
yes, they do.
and
Pedestrian.
then they go home or they go to work or they go somewhere. They don't come and shop. They don't frequent the downtown. What I was saying about that was I'd love to see more businesses and or restaurants that have more foot traffic and a reason to be down on this end south of Garmani and stuff like that.
So how many more pedestrians do you expect to be
If
with
I
a
have 6
six?
apartments,
with
six
six-
people, and we have a couple more employees that are here, there'd be more people to go to the local businesses for lunch and stuff like that.
Well, I'm referring to the resident, your proposed residential 6 units in the back. Do you think you're going to solve the
No.
pedestrian problem?
No, but it's going to be one starfish at a time.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that people don't come into Red Bank because of the parking. There's a problem with parking. But this application itself, according to the letter that Mr. Brodsky sent me, said that 62 spaces were required and you're only providing 34.
Correct.
Now, you'll probably update those numbers and that kind of stuff. But, so you're going to be pushing more traffic out into the street, right? Where
Assuming,
do you expect them to park?
well, assuming that we have, that's 100% occupancy of all people
Right,
at
right.
all times, which if you can,
Right.
I think you can see our parking lot from your property.
Excuse me?
I think you can see our parking lot from your property now.
I can see the parking lot next to you at 195. I'm at 115 Hudson.
Right, I thought you could see 199 also. But 199 currently parking and there's this traffic study that typically has less than half of it filled. And 205 virtually has nothing on it at this point.
So the technical application itself, though, says you're short parking. You need a variance for that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And this, putting residential units in the back will only exacerbate the technical requirement.
Correct.
Okay.
Assuming of the occupancy of the office space.
Okay.
That's the factor that's the unknown. But if you have 6 people and you have 2 people in each apartment, or 1.5, you're going to have a little bit more parking in that parking lot at that time.
Okay. That does it for me at this point.
Thank you,
Mr.
sir.
Rusk.
Okay, anybody else from the public? Come on up.
Good evening. Name and address, please.
Thomas Jones, 133 Hudson Avenue.
You swear that the information and testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, to the best of your knowledge, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you.
Mr. Smallwood, first of all, congratulations on the renovations you did to the building.
Thank you, sir.
It's marvelous.
Thank you.
Just what this town needs.
Thank you.
And I like the drawings or the illustrations here of incorporating the new building. And even the bridge, I don't mind so much. It's going to be, takes away a little bit from it, but it's still good.
Thank you.
You talked about the biggest concerns I have are the units in the back, the residential. That's where all the variances seem to be coming into play.
Yep.
And you talked about the aesthetics. You're not going to see much because your buildings are pretty well covered. So the aesthetics don't really come into play because nobody's going to see them from the street.
I think you actually do, because from this angle, you'll see them here. You'll see them through the bridge. And if you're coming, we don't have a visual coming from Broad Street heading, I guess, south. You would see them from that perspective too, because of 195 lot being a complete parking lot, which is something I'm trying to avoid.
Well, still a concern is all the variances are based on the residential, which is not a, what's the word I want to? It's not, that's what you need the variances for. It's not allowed right now.
Correct.
And if we made that go away, this meeting would be a lot faster. and a
Just
lot-
speak into the mic so we make sure we pick you
I
up.
said, if the residential went away, most of these issues would go away. Would solve a lot of problems. I think this town is getting very overcrowded and we're have less parking than is required or proposed anyways. And I think that's going to
If I could just
exacerbate.
interrupt you for 1 second. So I think the question was, if the residential aspect of the project went away, would a majority of the variances go away? That was your question, sir?
Correct.
I believe that's accurate. Yeah, I believe that's 100% accurate. One of the things that when we looked at the properties and we looked at the 60-foot wide lots and we looked at the use, and then I have this beautiful 1895 property, which if you go inside, it looks much better. Outside, we didn't do much on it, right? But technically, we could put all of the density behind 199 Broad Street and make 205 a parking lot, and that would literally kill me because it would be doing something that is horrible for the town and the aesthetics and the view. And that is something that I don't want to do. I want to make it look beautiful. I want to make it look like it's been here for 125 years.
I appreciate that. When you said all the density could be on 199, all what density? Oh, do you mean?
All the density that we're looking for in the variances with apartments and office space off the back of 199, level the 1895 property. I'm not saying I'm going to do that, okay? But if we were to do that, if we were to level 205 and turn that into parking, we would satisfy the parking and the density, and we wouldn't actually even be here tonight.
Okay. But again, if you didn't have the density, you wouldn't need the extra parking, you wouldn't need a lot. So if the residential went away, just about everything else would go away.
Yes, but residential is allowed in the area. It is a permitted use. And rather than do all office space, we thought a mix of residential and office space was a better model for the area and the aesthetics of the town. But I understand what you're saying,
Sure.
and I appreciate what you're saying.
One other comment on that would be, you based a lot of your assumptions on you keeping the buildings and maintaining them going forward.
Right.
We all know the world changes. Somebody else could go in and.
Would my
you
kid
don't need-
want it? Who the hell knows,
You
right?
don't need the parking, so if they give you the variance on the parking spaces, the next owners of the building may need it. So then we have another issue. So we're putting blinders on that we might have, not have an issue now, but we won't have an issue in the future.
Just, if you have any more questions,
That's it.
we'll let you comment
Thank
later
you.
at the end, so.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Anybody else from the public have a question for Mr. Smallwood?
Hi, my
Evening.
name
Name and
is
address?
Catherine Hardigan,
All right,
122,
Catherine with a C or K.
the other guy, Hartigan.
And Catherine is with the C or K?
K.
K. All right. Do you swear that the information and testimony you're about to provide, to the extent you provide any, will be the truth, the best of your knowledge, to help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
So I was just wondering, did you say the lots are the same size?
They're 60-foot wide. They're the same width, almost, and Andrew can actually tell us
And then
exactly that.
Depth?
Depth is very, very similar.
Okay.
There's probably a 2 feet to 3 feet difference in the, I think 199 goes a little further back than 205.
Yeah, so that's what I was wondering. So the one on the left is a smidge
Long-
larger.
Yeah, smidge larger.
But you decided to put the apartments on the right.
They're on both.
Oh, they're on both?
Yeah, it's on both.
Oh,
It's-
so it stretches across.
Yeah, do we have the board of that
Oh,
that
it's
shows?
down view, maybe?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
and it's a top down, so it's,
So it's behind both.
yeah, like this technically is, that side is closer to 199 Broad.
Okay, so it's
And it
stretches.
gets smaller as it comes towards your house. Like, it's higher on that side and it gets smaller on that side, and there's a little bit of gap there.
Okay, yeah, that's all for now.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other questions from the public?
All right. You're still under oath. Just state your name again.
William Hardigan. Are you okay?
You want this?
Mis- Did you think I took it from you? I thought you were giving it to me. I apologize. Do you think this would set a precedent in these neighborhoods, the surrounding neighborhoods, where other businesses could, do these projects and get these ordinances?
If you look at what's happened in development on the street, when people do it, people are not investing in their properties the way I have invested in 199 and 205. I'm hoping to spur and inspire quality of investment, and people do nice things with their property so that when you drive into town, it looks like a fabulous town that it is. So I'm hoping to spur people to make strategic decisions to beautify their properties.
Okay. The other question I have is, did you ever consider, reaching out to like direct abutting neighbors like myself, to, let us know kind of what you were thinking about doing, or, seeing how we felt about it? Did you ever consider that?
In hindsight, probably should have done that, and we did not do that at this time. So probably should have.
Yeah, because, we got, the first notice we got, we received 7 days. I think it might have been sent out 8 days. I think that's the requirement, but we
Right.
got, is it 10? And we got it 7 days prior, so it wasn't a lot of time. I know it got extended, but,
Mm.
yeah, that was my question, if you ever considered reaching out to neighbors.
Thank you.
It's kind of awkward to knock on people's doors today. They don't really answer. So, but we could
No,
definitely
you
do
can put
that.
a note in or something, put a letter or something like that, like we
appreciate
received a
that.
letter on the variances.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Here you go.
You can give me a call, or we can.
Yep.
Okay. Any more questions from the public? Close the public portion. Go on with your, want to go with the next witness?
Yes. So this is the project engineer, Mr. Andrew Comey. Kevin, we have one other exhibit, two exhibits
All
that we
right.
need to mark.
So let's first. State your name and business address.
Good evening, Andrew R. Comey, COMI, Kennedy Consulting Engineers. I'm located at 211 Maple Avenue, Red Bank, New Jersey.
Tonight, your capacity as a license.
Professional engineer.
Qualifications are current, up to date, and in good standing?
They are.
Want just the members of the public, just briefly identify some of the license and credentials that you hold.
Certainly, I'm a licensed New Jersey professional engineer. Just to give you the benefit, I am a graduate of Rutgers University in the field of civil engineering, and I have 20 years experience in land development engineering projects, both commercial and residential.
And I believe you've testified before Red Bank Zoning Board before,
I believe so, yes.
and you've been qualified by other boards and accepted
that's
as a
correct.
professional witness?
Yes.
Accepted.
Okay. And now
Okay.
you wanted to enter into, Charlene, what are we up to? A20? So what is A20?
A20 is an aerial exhibit. And I do have small size copies of both of these exhibits that I'll hand out.
Okay.
This exhibit is entitled Aerial Exhibit, prepared by Kennedy Consulting Engineers, and the date is June 18th, 2026.
Thank you.
And the next exhibit is just a colorized rendering of the submitted site plan. It's entitled Site Plan Rendering, prepared by Kennedy Consulting Engineers. This one's dated May 21st, 2026.
Okay, so that'll be A21. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, Andy, if you would. Sure. So
No,
while,
maybe some of us can share and you can leave a couple up.
12, I think there's.
Okay, but I want to leave some for the
I have
audience. Oh, you got it?
Two more.
Got it. Great.
Or I can turn the boards around, whatever works best. Maybe I'll just do that.
I don't know, the board may want to see it, but
Does that work for the board? Should I turn this back around? Okay.
That worked fine.
okay, Andy, if you would, let's walk the board through, and the public, walk the site as it exists today, essentially, and then we'll get into what's proposed as part of the application.
Yes, so referring to A20, the aerial exhibit, the project site is highlighted in red. As you heard, it consists of two lots. Both are in block 105. Lot 16, which is 199 Broad Street, is the lot to the north, and lot 15, which is 205 Broad Street, is the southerly lot. The site is located in the PO professional office zone, and the overall property is 34,143 square feet, or just a little over 3/4 of an acre. 34,143. That's both combined, yes. The site has 120 feet of frontage on Broad Street to the west, and that includes both lots. It borders a commercial parking lot to the north, borders a combination house of worship and office building to the south, and single-family residential properties to the east or to the rear of the property. 199 Broad Street contains an existing office building that's 3,255 square feet, and a paved parking lot at the rear, driveway access on Broadway that's used for two-way traffic currently. And 205 Broad contains an existing office building that's 3,060 square feet. A paved parking lot exists at the rear, and also has a driveway on Broadway that's also used for two-way traffic. Both lots include other improvements, including existing lighting, landscaping, walkways, and stormwater management. That's any questions on the existing conditions, because then I'll switch to the next exhibit, which you have.
This is A21?
Correct. This is the site plan rendering of a colorized version of the plans that were submitted. So with the proposed, moving on to the proposed conditions, starting at the front office buildings. In the proposed conditions, as you've heard, the two buildings are proposed to be connected with a second-story bridge addition, which you'll obviously hear more about from the architect. The bridge will have a clearance of 12 feet, 8 inches below the bottom of the structure to the driveway below. The driveway is to remain. An addition is also proposed at the rear of the 205 building, that's the southerly building, which will bring the total floor area from 6,315 square feet existing to 9,940 square feet. Both the bridge addition and the other addition behind the 205 building are shaded in a darker shade of orange, while the existing building is in a lighter color. So you can kind of see what's to remain and what's proposed. Before moving on, I'll note now, obviously, the building straddles both lots. We will, of course, merge the two lots together as in the proposed condition. This actually eliminates two existing nonconformities. Both lots only have 60 feet of frontage, whereas 75 feet is required. The new lot will have 120 feet of frontage, and now, of course, will conform to the zoning requirement. Next, the apartment building at the rear of the property will have six one-bedroom apartments. You'll hear more about that from the architect. The building is proposed to be 35 feet high, which meets the maximum permitted height in the zone. The ground level will have 6 single-car garages, each one of which will be assigned to one of the units. Additional parking for the residents would be within the shared parking lot, which we will get into. Building access for the apartment building, the main entrance is on the west side or the parking lot side of the building, and 2 emergency exits are proposed at the rear of the building. The apartment building requires 2 variances. The first is the residential density, where a density of 6 units per acre is permitted and 7.65 units per acre is proposed. The second is the minimum habitable floor area, which is 600 square feet in the zone, and 2 of the units are proposed to be 500 square feet. The unit size also requires a separate design waiver, and of course, you'll hear more from the architect with respect to the unit sizes. In addition, several other design waivers are also required for the rear building. The first, although the building meets the 10-foot side yard setback requirement on both sides, apartment buildings specifically are required to have a 20-foot side yard setback. The proposed setbacks are 15.6 feet and 10.3 feet. 10.3 feet to the north, 15.6 feet to the south. Therefore, these design waivers are requested. Additionally, multifamily buildings are required to have a setback from internal driveways of 25 feet. And as you can see, the building and garages are proposed with no setback to the internal driveway. That's primarily for the garage access. With respect to parking, the existing paved parking lots at the rear of the office buildings are to be modified and connected. In total, 34 parking spaces are proposed, which includes 28 surface spaces and the 6 individual garage spaces. Of those 28 spaces, 28 surface spaces, 3 of which will be ADA accessible as required. Those are indicated on the plan. And in terms of electric vehicle parking, currently 6 EV spaces are shown. As your board engineer pointed out, 3 additional EV spaces are required, and as well, a percentage of which are to have the EV chargers installed at the time of the CO. And of course, we'll update the plan accordingly to show those. In total, as mentioned, 62 parking spaces are required, and with the allowable reduction due to the proposed EV spaces, that brings the requirement down to 56. And therefore, a variance is required for a deficiency of 22 spaces. And you'll hear testimony, of course, from the traffic engineer regarding that variance.
Numbers one more time. So what's required?
62 spaces, but with the EV credit, it's 56. I believe I incorrectly did the EV credit wrong on the submitted site plans. I've since learned that you're supposed to deduct the EV credit from the requirement. Isn't that correct, Jackie? So I added them to the proposed.
So 56 are required, and what are you proposing?
We're proposing 34.
Thank you.
Net deficiency of 22.
Got it.
As far as design waivers for parking, parking spaces are proposed to be 9 feet wide by 16 feet in length, where 18 feet in length is required, and therefore design waiver is requested. I'll note that the existing parking lot currently has 16-foot long parking spaces, and that parking stall size has been adequate for the existing businesses for as long as Mr. Smallwood has been in his office. As far as site circulation, the northerly driveway, the 199 Broad driveway, will be converted into a one-way entrance, while the southerly driveway on 205 Broad will be converted to a one-way exit. So instead of having two-way driveways, we'll have a clockwise circulation where you enter from the 199 Broad Street driveway, circulate around in a clockwise direction, and exit out the existing 205 Broad Street driveway. You can see that with the arrows indicated on the plan. We propose to reinforce that one-way direction with additional signage and striping that will, of course, add to the plan to make sure we add do not enter signs, of course, so nobody goes the wrong way. And that will be updated on the next submitted plans that we present. Regarding the circulation, there are 2 existing conditions that are to remain which require design waivers. That's the width of the driveway, 199 Broad Street. The entrance is as narrow as 9.6 feet, while the 205 Broad Street exit is as narrow as 10.7 feet wide, where 18 feet is required for one-way traffic. In addition, the 205 Broad Street driveway has a 0 setback. It's right on the property line to the south, and a 3-foot setback is required. So that's, again, another design waiver that's existing condition that is to remain. With respect to trash and recycling, it's not shown on the plan, but we intend to provide an enclosure or a concrete pad with a 6-foot solid fence surrounding it near in the southerly portion of the property near the apartment building. That would be for the residents, for the 6 residents of the apartment. That enclosure would contain wheeled cans that would be picked up by private hauler. So that is the plan for trash and recycling pickup.
Is that on the plan you gave us?
It is not on the plan. It was a comment that we received from your board engineer, and we decided that it would be best to place that in the exterior, within the site.
So where exactly is it? Can you?
If I can point, there is a landscaped area in the southeast corner but in front of the apartment building.
So you would remove the tree that's shown there?
It may have to be adjusted. Yes. So you got it. It's where that tree is located. We'll have to, if it can't fit between the tree and the apartment building, we'll make some adjustment.
So how big is that enclosure?
We didn't really show it on the plan, but I would assume about 10 feet by 6 feet, something enough to have a number of cans for the 6 one-bedroom apartments, maybe six total wheeled totes. So it doesn't have to be tremendously large. We're not proposing dumpsters.
Okay.
Just as you can imagine, 6 one-bedroom apartments wouldn't generate nearly as much traffic as a larger commercial business. So,
And you said a 6-foot fence surrounding it?
we would definitely propose a solid fence surrounding it.
And are you proposing private removal of the garbage?
That's what I testified. We would have a private hauler to come pick up those. I believe the existing office buildings do wheel their cans out to the street, but we didn't want to have 10 cans wheeled out to the street. So that's with the addition of the multifamily, we thought it best to place it in one central location for pickup at the rear, out of sight, screened with a fencing. With respect to signage, there are two existing ground signs, one on each lot. In the proposed condition, those two signs are proposed to remain. However, once the lots are merged, a variance then becomes required because only one sign is allowed per lot. So that variance is requested. We want to keep both ground signs in their exact location, size, setback, and all requirements. There are several design waivers for those existing signs that are to remain as well. Those are in terms of the front setback, the clearance from the bottom of the 205 Broad Street sign, as well as the size of one of the signs. They're outlined in your board engineer's review letter. But those existing nonconformities are to remain.
So you're combining both of those lots?
Yes.
So how many principal structures then are on here? 1, 2, or 3? If they added by the bridge, then that's 1. So then there's two principal buildings on the one lot then? Okay. Do we need a waiver for that?
Okay. So that's as far as signage. With respect to utilities, new connections for the rear building are proposed to be made in Broad Street. Those are shown on the northerly part of the property. The squeeze in between the existing building and the adjacent property to the north. We've submitted to the Water and Sewer Department our flow calculations, and I'll note that for the rear building, the mechanical equipment for the new building including the AC units, they're not shown on the plan. We'll show them on the plan. They're to be proposed on the south side of the building.
Sorry, what was that? What's on the south side of the building?
The mechanical equipment, including the AC units. How many AC units? If 6, one per unit. So right now we have foundation plantings that'll be adjusted due to the 6 AC units.
Does that affect the setback, the southern setback?
Doesn't affect the building setback.
Okay, right.
The AC units would be within the setback. But next, with respect to stormwater management, the project is not a major development per the borough's definition. However, a stormwater management system is proposed so that the peak runoff rates for the property or leaving the property will be decreased actually when compared to the existing condition. I'll explain the existing system and the proposed additions real briefly. The parking lot behind the 199 Broad Street building currently contains an underground stormwater detention system that consists of 30-inch diameter piping surrounded by stone that was installed when that site plan came forth in 2012 or so. That is to remain, but it will be modified. It'll be expanded to accommodate the additional increase in impervious coverage from this project. So the proposed system will, as well as the existing, will be within the existing parking lot or the proposed parking lot to be modified. As in the existing conditions, the underground system is designed to store and detain and infiltrate into the ground up to and including the 100-year design storm without reaching the parking lot level and nor running off into the adjacent properties. And as requested, we will provide soil testing for the expanded system, although I have gone to the site, witnessed the existing system after a rain event, and it was dry. So we do feel that the soils are very, very well draining. So we do expect the soil report that we'll provide will confirm the same. Your board engineer did ask whether or not we looked at providing a piped overflow to any of the surrounding stormwater management systems, such as in Broad Street in the county's system. I did investigate that. The nearest inlet, which is in front of the parking lot to the north in Broad Street, it's about 250 feet from the stormwater management system. Found that it was about 2 feet lower than the parking lot, which we did not feel was conducive to providing an overflow pipe of any real significance, it would basically have no slope. So therefore, the proposed system will function just like the existing system, with infiltration into the ground being the sole means of draining that stormwater management system. Lastly, I'll note that the property owner will remain as the responsible party for maintenance of the stormwater management system. With respect to lighting, the parking areas are proposed to be lit with downward pointing LED light fixtures that will be 20 feet high. That matches the pole heights of the lights within the existing parking lot behind 199 Broad. We'll just be essentially, there's 3 lights there today. We'll be having 6 fixtures in total. 2 of the light poles will actually have 2 fixtures, one on each end, or 180 degrees from the other. So it'll only be 3 light poles turning into 4 light poles, essentially. The goal with the lighting, of course, was to minimize and ensure low light spillage beyond the property line. We feel that we've done that, but as an additional measure, we will, of course, add house side shields, add all the lights at the perimeter of the property to further screen any light and glare. And to be honest, the proposed apartment building will also provide a significant amount of screening for the parking lot lighting, being 35 feet tall and much taller than the proposed lights. The only lights at the rear of the building are small overhead lights over the 2 emergency exit doorways. Those aren't shown on the plans, but they would be small, like coach type light fixtures, but as required for the emergency exits. Since the parking lot will be used for multifamily parking, the lights would be on from dusk until dawn, but we can work with your board engineer to see if we can reduce the light levels during the evening hours and overnight as much as possible, but at least to have a minimum safety lighting level. With respect to landscaping, at the front of the building, the existing plantings are proposed to remain. At the rear of the building, in total, 13 trees, 86 shrubs, and additional perennial flowers are currently shown on the plan, as requested by your board engineer. Additional plantings, including a double row of evergreen trees at the rear of the property, will be provided. That will provide screening for the residential neighbors to the rear. As well.
That's not shown on this.
No, we will add we show some evergreens at the rear, but we'll make sure it's a solid double row of evergreen trees. In addition, additional plantings along the southerly side yard will also be proposed. And further, a 6-foot solid fence will be proposed at the rear of the property for additional screening. I believe there's a solid fence there today. Of course, we'll continue that and make sure the entire rear of the property has a solid 6-foot fence.
Is that fence on the property line?
It appears to be. I don't think it was on the survey. I think it's, but it may be a pretty new fence. I just noticed when I was there 2 weeks ago. As far as street,
you said on the southerly side of the property there would be evergreens that are
the rear. On the southerly side, we will add additional. Well, there's really not much landscaping other than foundation plantings there. We'll continue the evergreen plantings and along the southerly side of the property.
Right, and that's not shown in, what's also not shown is the AC units you said would be there, and you
Correct.
6 of them? And,
yes.
And does that, is there room for both?
Well, it's getting a little tight. I will say that we will still request the variance for not providing the required 42 trees in that landscaped area. We'll supplement that. We'll probably bring the number into around 30 trees, but we'll do our best. We'll make sure we still have maintenance. We need to have maintenance access around the back and sides of the building. So it is a good point.
Okay, so AC units will definitely be on the southerly side, and then
Yes.
trees as space allows. Is kind of the plan.
Correct. Trees as we can provide. Probably won't provide a double row on the southerly side, as we will on the easterly side or the rear of the property.
All right, thank you.
As far as street trees, the plans currently don't propose any. 3 street trees are required, as noted in the engineer's review. So we would like to update the plans to add the trees if we can. There are 2 driveways to remain, 2 signs to remain, and there are trees on the side lot lines. If we can provide the 3 trees, we will. If not, we will contribute to the street tree fund for the remainder. So that is the plan, and that will be shown on the next resubmission.
I have just a question on the landscaping again.
Yes.
Looking at what you gave us, there are a couple areas that have like purple shaded areas that do not have landscaping. What's going on there?
Those were existing trees.
Oh, those are trees.
It's hard to tell on the rendering, but yes. We were trying to, I think our landscape architect was proposing some perennial plantings at the base of those existing trees, but we'll have to look at that and see if we can supplement and of course, the goal is not to eliminate any trees. I think we're eliminating 3 total trees on the property, and of course, we'll comply with the borough's tree removal ordinance, and the plans will be updated accordingly. But those trees at the rear were to remain.
Okay, yeah, because in terms of being able to look at this and see what kind of buffering exists between these lots and neighboring lots, it would be nice to see maybe what is there existing as well as what is proposed.
Yes, I think it may be a little clearer even on the black and white submitted landscape plan. It's just harder to tell with the colors that were splashed on here with the aerial background. So, but there are 2 existing trees I see.
Okay.
As far as landscaping, there are a couple of design waivers. As I mentioned, 42 trees are required. We're requesting a design waiver for providing less than that. Of course, we will add as many as we can. So those will be shown on the next resubmitted plan. And additionally, a landscape strip of 5 feet is required along the side lot lines. That would be to the north and south. And the proposed landscape strip is variable, but less than 5 feet in width. Therefore, a design waiver is required.
You've reviewed the board engineer and board planners letters,
Yes.
and I think we've hit the majority of the points, but
Yeah.
if
I
there's
got
anything
a
we
question.
haven't, go
Have
ahead.
you consulted with fire officials?
I actually did speak with a fire official this morning, and I was interested to see what they thought about the bridge connection. I did learn that our clearance is 12 feet, 8 inches, and I learned that the tallest ladder fire truck that would service possibly the site is 12 feet, so it is higher. It is taller than that. A fire truck can enter the rear parking area. So
No problem with turning around back.
we will provide turning templates. Those haven't been prepared yet. But of course, we will work with the fire official to their satisfaction, of course, as required.
If you're the right person to ask this, if the beautiful 199, hadn't been renovated and 205 wasn't, and they were torn down, and this site was vacant, how many apartments could you put on it in the current zoning?
Well, I guess I am.
Small ones, like studios
Yeah.
and ones like people are building. I mean, people have built 2s and asked $6,000 on Mama Street, but it's hard to get that. So how many apartments could you put on this site as of right if it was vacant, completely clear?
Well, to meet all the requirements, 6 units requires a variance for the density. I believe 4 units would comply. I think 6, if even 5 is slightly over the 6 units per acre that's allowable. But I was going to answer your question a different way. I did look at what would happen, and I think Mr. Smallwood even alluded to that earlier. What would happen if we were to knock both buildings down and provide even one combined building, both residential and office space, the same amount of square footage in the office portion, and the same amount of units in the residential portion, with just parking all around that building. And we were able to get very close to the parking. I think we got 53 parking spaces in that scenario. We likely could could tweak the design to get up to the required 56 spaces. So it is a possibility, but again, to answer your question, only 4 units would comply with the density requirement. There's many other
Right. So the
requirements.
site is already above density grandfathered because of the 6,000 feet of houses. So you couldn't recreate those houses as apartment buildings from scratch by the current zoning.
Six units would not.
Gotcha.
The property is the size that it is, the 3/4 of an acre in size.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board for this witness? Any questions from the public for this witness?
Under oath.
Thank you, sir. William Hardigan. Wow, this is a lot to digest. Could you do me a favor? Could you point out on this plan where the air conditioned units are going to be for the apartment buildings in the rear?
as I was saying, it would be to the south of the building.
Okay. And the garbage, which it kind of blows my mind how it's not on the plan because it has such an impact on the neighboring
Well,
residents.
the idea was that they could have possibly been stored within the garages and wheeled out during pickup day that's an option. But we opted to provide an enclosure for the cans.
And that enclosure is going to go where?
Also on the south of the property, likely in this area right here.
Okay. Also, tree-wise, you're saying that the existing trees are going to stay.
Yeah, that was what Mr. Light had mentioned. It shows as like a purple color. I think that's just the perennial bed at the base of these 2 existing trees. That's why there's a gap.
Okay, there's another tree that comes more back into the property where I believe is where this building would go. You're going to cut that tree down.
There are 3 trees within the site that are to be removed, and
So
it's probably one that you're talking.
So look, you're going to leave 2 trees or 3 trees in the rear of the property?
Well, these 2 specifically would remain. The 3 trees, I believe, are within the parking area and where the apartment building is located. I could show you exactly where those are on the existing conditions plan, but it's harder to see. It's screened back here, but
Okay. Whew. Let's see what we got here.
Just as a follow-up while we're waiting, Andrew, along the rear, again, the revised plan will show that it's going to be a double row of evergreen, right? Okay. So and you estimating we're adding how many trees to the site?
another 15. I would say just a guess. I would say at least another 15 to 20 trees in order.
Scattered or on the back of the property line,
In-
side, all over?
In the back would be a staggered row, so meaning that would provide the maximum screening.
You're going to get a traffic engineer up here.
Yes.
So I do want to ask some questions about the parking. Maybe questions go to both you guys, but have you factored in, how the parking's going to, with service vehicles and visitors and like the zoning board gentleman said with the police and EMS and fire, like have you done a study on all that?
I will defer that question
To the traffic engineer?
report.
Okay,
Yeah.
good enough. I'll come back up for that. All right, I'll stop for now.
I've got one more question. Oh. While we wait for Mr. Moss, I've got one more question.
Yes.
So looking at this diagram again with the 6 apartments, where are the mailboxes going to be?
I will defer that to the architect.
Okay. It's not on the plan.
It is not.
Okay, Mr. Moss.
Kevin Moss returning again.
Still under oath, thank
I
you.
have, I have three questions, and I think each one of them was touched upon, the question, but I didn't get the answers, so I'm not sure. I think Mr. Light was on one. You said the lot widths of 50 feet are non-conforming, but we're going to merge the 2 lots, so it's going to be 100 feet, and then it's going to conform.
Close. It's 60 and 60, and then when they're merged, it will be 120.
Right. So the lot width would then be conforming.
Correct.
I think that was what you
It is-
testified.
It would be 75 feet is the requirement. So
Now, there'll be 3 primary buildings on that one lot.
3 or 2.
I think
We call
Mr.
it
Light
2.
was referring to that. Is that legitimate? Is that conforming?
There's no requirement. Yeah.
We consider this as 2 buildings, one in the front,
Consider 199, 205.
which
and
are
a
now,
Huge carriage house in the back to be 3
yeah.
Mr. Kennedy, is that a
2
primary structure? Is it a principal structure? What's the legal term on that? Or maybe I'll give you a professional's.
Yeah, we're going to have to have some discussion on that, and
I thought you wanted the answer.
we're going to have some discussion on that later on.
To be continued. Okay.
Yes, to be continued, and whether or not there's any requirements. So we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Thank you. As a longtime borough volunteer firefighter, I am interested in, you've checked the roof or the bridge, and it just clears by 8 inches. The biggest truck is 25 years old, and there's discussions underway to get a new tower ladder truck. Did you check the widths with regard to those 2 driveways? With a residential premise in the back, you're going to need fire equipment to be going all in the back. Did you check the widths?
I did discuss that with the fire official, same one that I spoke with. 9 feet was the width that I was told was the minimum width that they could get the fire truck through. We have a slightly more than that, but the goal, hopefully, was that no fire truck would need to access the rear of the property, but should they need to, it can be done. Yes.
With 6 residential units, you would need to get back there, for sure. So the third question was regard to the existing evergreen trees on the back of the property.
I believe there are some evergreen trees that are right where the proposed building is located. So we're going to be supplementing the rear of the property.
So the rear of the property by Mr. Hardigan's house
Correct.
has some huge.
Okay.
What would you estimate the height of those evergreen trees, the existing ones?
These were the ones that were planted, the ones on our property, they were planted around 2012 when the site plan, they're the rear of 199 Broad, the northerly lot. They're mature at this point, but they are relatively new
So
evergreen.
what would you estimate the height of those to be?
I do have a photo of it.
Are
I'd
they-
rather look at it than guess.
One of the questions is, are they staying?
No, they're within the proposed building
I heard
footprint.
a double row of evergreen trees would come in.
Proposed.
Would they be the same height as the ones you're taking out?
They will get that high, yes.
And will,
It's not recommended to plant 30-foot trees at the rear. They're not going to survive, sir.
so what's your estimate of the height then of the existing trees? The existing trees put a pretty good barrier.
I would estimate 30 feet. I get 25 to 30 feet. I'm guessing. It's not the easiest to tell from these photos.
And so what's typical with your double row of proposed evergreen trees, what's the typical height that you would put in initially?
It's listed on the plant list.
Right.
They're
I didn't
proposed to
receive
be 7 to 8 feet.
7 to 8 feet? You'd replace the 25 or 30-foot trees with 7 to 8 feet?
That's what's proposed, yes.
You have an idea of how long it would take them to mature to become 30 feet?
I'm telling you that these trees that were planted around 2012, 2013, they're that high now. I don't know how long it took, but the proposed evergreen trees they can grow very quickly.
Are you testifying that the trees that were planted in 2012 were 7 or 8 feet tall?
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Brodsky, that's-
Okay, anybody else from the public?
I just want to clear. Thank you.
Just
William
state your name
Hardigan.
for the record.
William Hardigan.
Thanks.
Can you just tell me where the lights are going to be again in the rear of the property? I couldn't really hear before.
The lights are highlighted in red. You can see them. All this stuff. So we have, this is an existing light to remain. This is an existing light to remain, but yes. So I'm pointing to the colored rendering. The lights are indicated in a red shade. They're small, but I'm pointing out one on the northerly property line, two within the central landscaped island within the parking lot. Those would have 2 fixtures each. And then there's one on the southerly property line. No, they're only the ones on 199 are existing. My understanding behind 205 is just a building mounted light and that's it.
There's going to be no lights back here. They're all going to be in the parking lot.
The only lights at the rear of the building would be 2 small overhead lights above these emergency exit doors. So they would be down 8 feet or so.
And they would stay on all night.
We can ask the architect that question. I'm not sure if they're required or perhaps they can have some kind of a motion sensor. I'm not sure, to be honest.
Thank you.
Where is
Okay.
the light on the southern border? Is it in line with the?
I'm going to refer to the lighting plan that was submitted. That's all I'm opening up here, just. And there may, I didn't see, yeah, there is one. It's, you know why I didn't see it? It's in line with the parking stall striping, right in the middle of that row of 6 spaces. It shows very clearly on the
But
on the
it's not
lighting
on
plan.
this- The other lights are on this.
It
not
is.
that.
It's on this rendering that you're referring to. It's at the second parking stall in from the back of the 205 building on the southerly property line. There you go. Yeah, it's to the left of the 16-foot.
Okay. Beneath the 2 double arrows.
Yeah, exactly.
May I follow up on the clearance for the pedestrian bridge? It's a tight clearance, right, for those emergency vehicles. Do you intend to put up signage that says what the clearance is?
Yes, and since these plans were submitted, I've seen the courts at Red Bank, the office building on Maple Ave. They have basically the same thing. It has a sign indicating the clearance. So that's what we'll intend to do.
Okay, and to the gentleman's point about the wider fire trucks, do you also intend to put a physical protection for the building on that passageway, so like bollards, basically?
Likely, we would probably do something like that. But of course, I'll work with the fire official. We'll make sure that, and that's not necessarily a fire official requirement, but we want to protect the building, of course, but we'll work with the fire official as far as any signage and protection of the building, of course.
Okay. Unrelated, do you intend to put a bike rack on the property?
I think that was a comment in the board engineer's letter. Yes, we will agree to do that. I should have mentioned, I think we were saying at the end, I did review the engineer's comments and we'll agree to comply with all the other conditions and comments that I didn't mention. I tried to touch upon, many of them.
Yeah, I was going through them now, and do you intend to provide them? Should I continue to ask, or do you intend to provide them?
If you need to know the answer, sure.
Okay, yeah. I mean, another one was about snow removal, and so
Right.
there's not a lot of room on the property to stockpile snow. And so, what is the intention for that?
The intention was to push the snow into either the striped areas at the end of the parking islands or into the landscaped areas. But it could be some time during heavy snow when a couple of parking spaces would be impacted. I mean, that's typical, but Mr. Smallwood could probably confirm that I'm sure less people would be coming to work perhaps on that particular day. But yeah, that's the intention, is to push the snow into the areas outside the parking areas.
Okay,
I've got, sorry, one more question.
Sure.
I'm sorry. The driveway for the northern lot, you said was 9.6 inches?
Yes.
Um,
In the tightest spot. It starts at 9 feet, 9.6 feet.
there's nothing directly south of that next to the lawn. So from what I can tell, so if you need to expand the driveway, could that be done there?
I did think of this when I was having that discussion, because that is the tightest point. The 205 exit is a slightly larger. It's possible if we
It's
needed
possible.
to, but I did get the feedback that I was looking for, was that the 9 feet was what was required, or 9 feet was the minimum needed for the fire.
From the fire department.
Correct. But
I mean,
again,
6-inch clearance is very tough,
understandable.
especially for very large trucks.
Understood. But like I said, I just had a quick informal conversation. We'll work with the fire official
Great.
in more
Thank you.
detail. Yeah.
I have one question.
okay.
Okay. Sorry, just one question. It's not in my letter. It's not a difficult one, but it's one that we've been addressing with a lot of the applications recently. Similar to Thrive, have you spoken to or consulted with the electric company in terms of power needed for your proposed development? Will you need a transformer? And where would you put it if you need it? Because I don't want to come back here and talk about your transformer.
Sure. I have not spoken with the power company other than to submit for a will serve letter, which I believe we did receive. But no, not as far as transformer requirements. I didn't have that discussion,
We can look into that.
of course.
Okay, any other questions? Well, your next witness, please.
Next witness, yes.
Motion for a 5-minute break.
Hmm.
Motion for a 5-minute break.
Okay, yep, we can take a 5-minute break. Okay, good. Okay, can we have roll call, please?
Ann Torrey,
Here.
Raymond Mass.
Here.
John Gilday,
Here.
Anna Cruz, Vincent Light. Eugene Horowitz.
Here.
Chris Havens. Dorothy Cerullo. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Brodsky. You're up.
All right, good evening, and if you could just state your name and business address, please?
Anastasia Harrison at 114 Elm Street, Westfield, New Jersey.
All right, and Anastasia is spelled A-N-A,
Stasia.
and last name
Harrison,
Harr.
Ison.
Okay, and your business address, I'm sorry?
114 Elm Street, Westfield, New Jersey.
All right. If you could just raise your right hand. Welcome. Do you swear that the information and testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, to the best of your knowledge, to help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Have a seat. And just for the record, you're testifying tonight in your capacity as a licensed
Architect.
And your licenses, certifications, qualifications are current, up to date, and in good standing?
Yes.
And if you, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you wouldn't mind just giving the public and the members of the board a brief description of your qualifications.
I'm a licensed architect and have been so for the last 28 years. I specialize in projects where it's historic restoration and renovation. I have 6 years' experience of sitting on a planning board, testifying as the architect on the team, and have worked on numerous historic homes that have received certification. I've also sat on historic preservation boards in my town.
Great, thank you. Accept.
Thank you. Okay, Anastasia, if you would, if you could just, first of all, your office prepared the architectural plans that have been submitted, right?
Mhm.
Okay. And you also prepared the renderings that we have up there that have been previously marked.
Yes.
Okay. And so if you would, could you walk the board through what you were asked to do in connection with the project, what you sort of investigated, what you took into account, and then what led you to the designs that are proposed, both with respect to the exteriors and the floor plans?
And actually, before I do, Mr. Brodsky, during our halftime break, the architect handed out, I just want to kind of mark this in before I forget.
Oh,
Didn't we mark them in at the beginning?
Oh,
You marked them
yeah,
at the
those
beginning
are
when we
just
put them
reduced
on
versions
ABC.
of.
okay, so this is
yeah.
nothing.
They were already
Got
marked
it.
in.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And the additional exhibit that we have all the way to the right is just
So
a
they're
copy of a
They
plan
were-
that's already been submitted. We don't need to
Got it.
mark that. Okay.
One of the things that Mr. Smallwood and me and my team discussed was really his desire to keep the two existing buildings, improve upon 205 because he's done such a wonderful job in 199, and really ensure that a project of the scope and scale that he was trying to achieve could be done in really maintaining the residential character of this neighborhood. That was an important element of all of the designs that we sort of put in front of him. And the idea of bridging the two buildings really gave us the program we were looking for. And keeping the historic character of the entire development was very important. From the carriage house idea of the apartments in the back to the scale of the driveways, and ensuring that we didn't just demolish 205 and put one big driveway. A lot of those things were very intentional in the design.
So let's go through what you've found from a neighborhood perspective, which you just talked about, and then just talk about a little bit about the building materials and the color palette that you chose before we get into the actual floor plan.
Well, the actual idea of the connection of the bridge, it's to be representative of like a porte cochere or something you might have seen in older Victorian homes, where you would have sort of a drive aisle underneath a part of the building. And that is the overall design aesthetic that gave us that form. And then looking at it, we decided to make it a lot of glass, so it had a transparency to it, so it didn't feel like a heavy connection to the two buildings. The existing building is Hardy Shake painted, and it's all restored trim that is also painted in two different colors. The new building is Hardy Cedar Shake, and it has been renovated, and it will be painted and updated just like 199 was. So we have a Shake asphalt roof, we have Shake siding on both buildings, and we have painted trim.
Sorry, say it again. Shake asphalt roof.
We have Hardy Shake on 199 already. We're proposing to really just restore 205 with the shake that it is, and any new addition to 205 will be of the same character. It's meant to have a residential character and feel to all the trim, moldings, and elements of the building. And then in the back, the carriage house is a little, it's a little hybrid because we've got the big, beautiful brick church to the side, and we've taken brick and made that the lower half of the carriage house, and then supplemented it with a shake and siding above on the second floor.
Okay. And let's talk, before we get to the floor plans, let's talk a little bit about the apartment building, if you will, the carriage house. What were the thoughts there in terms of the apartment sizes, the number of apartments, that type of thing?
Yeah, because Mr. Smallwood wants to build a building that's higher quality, we were really looking at the size of the units and what they could be. And there's sort of like a double-edged sword. You don't want to create 2-bedroom apartments because it adds a lot of people and parking, and smaller units are what younger people need. They need lower rents, smaller units. They need to be in a community, living in a community maybe that they grew up in, or and the newer apartments that are 1 and 2 bedroom are fairly large and very expensive. So these units being a little smaller and having their own garages really help that demographic.
Okay.
And we made them smaller on purpose, right? Like that was part of what we did. They're not any smaller than a typical ADU if you were building those on a residential site. And again, this is meant to feel more residential in nature as opposed to more commercial in nature. So it doesn't feel like an apartment building.
Okay. So let's talk about the floor plans a little bit. First with respect to the office building.
Mhm.
Is there anything else you wanted to add with regard to the architectural design that we didn't hit yet?
Okay, so here on the site plan, this is 199, and the existing building has been renovated and will remain the same. Here is 205, and this is the existing area. It's darker on your floor plans. And then there is a new addition to the back, which adds more square footage for the program that the client required, and it gives us our ADA and fire accessibility with stairs.
Okay.
Coming to the back of the back of the property, we have created smaller density housing over here on the I guess it's the south side of the property, with intention, because that's where more of the residential area is over here. This is all a parking lot, so we were able to design the building a little taller on one side and a little shorter on the other. And then I can flip to the whatever individual plans you'd like to talk about next.
Let's go through.
I'm just going to go to the first floor of 199 and 205. So this is the first floor of 199 and 205, right? Yeah. So the existing building will not change. It already has stairs and ADA accessibility along the back. But the new building will have a new office suite in the back, and it has a mail area, janitorial, vestibule, the important elevator, and stairs. and then the existing space, which on the inside has already been restored. There's a lot of beautiful millwork, all wooden oak millwork in this space, and it's already been restored. The stairs have been restored. The floors have been restored. It was in terrible shape a couple of years ago when I saw it. Drop ceilings everywhere, and it's really very nice now.
Great. And now we can, second floor?
So on the second floor, you come up to the second floor in an existing stairwell on 199, and you can come across to the bridge, which is another office space. Could be conference area, it could be common space. It really has an open floor plan. It's meant to have an open floor plan in order to keep the transparency of the glass on both sides.
Right, so there was a question earlier by one of the board members that it's not just a sort of pedestrian passageway, it's actually usable space.
Yes, it's usable space because one of the programmatic requirements was to increase the square footage of certain areas for the
Understood.
office.
Yeah.
Okay, and then coming through this
Question?
pedestrian.
Question?
Sorry.
Okay.
Coming through this pedestrian area, you come into the newer part of the building, and you have offices, hospitality, toilets, vestibules, and the like.
Okay.
And because the buildings are so tall, they have existing third floors, and it's really just like an office suite
Got it.
upstairs,
Got it.
both sides. Coming into the carriage house in the back. There are 6 garages that exist at the lower level. There are 2 means of egress. There's a 4-unit building and a 2-unit building. So one of the questions before was like, where are the mailboxes? We're trying to keep this residential. We're not thinking that there's going to be a stanchion somewhere with 6 mailboxes on it. There'll be 4 mailboxes on this building, and there'll be 2 mailboxes on this building, and they're going to look like residential mailboxes.
Okay. Okay.
Also on this floor, there is a room for mail, a sprinkler room. And in speaking to Mr. Smallwood, we have an area inside that we can keep garbage.
Mm-hmm. And then 2 of the units, which are the 2 that are the 500 square foot units?
Well, that's the next plan up. So you come up the stairs in the common areas, and you have a 1-bedroom unit that's 596 square feet here. So it has a bedroom, an ADA bathroom. It has a common living/kitchen. The next unit is 500 square feet, which is the smallest. And it's really the smallest because we had to provide an elevator and stairs and, just all of the mechanical things you absolutely need. It has a full bathroom. This one is not ADA, but it has a nice walk-in closet, and it is a studio. You come to the next one, they're all 1 bedroom or a studio. There's 2 studios, 4 1-bedrooms, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So this one is a 1-bedroom, has a kitchen with an island. This one is a 1-bedroom. This one's 655, and this one's 650. And then you go up again to the second floor of housing. Technically the 3rd floor because the garage is the 1st. And you have another studio apartment that's 596 square feet and the other small unit of 500 square feet up here. But this half of the building, the apartments that I just recently showed you, are under the eaves of this roof so that it brings the character of the building down.
Mm-hmm.
That's the roof.
Okay.
And I'd rather you look at the renderings than the elevations here. But in looking at these renderings, they're not printed to scale each. They're each their own scale. I don't want you to think that the carriage house is bigger than the main houses because they're not. They're smaller than the main houses. So what's the height of this? It's under the 35, right? Yeah. This is 38 feet, and this is somewhere around I think it's 29 or 30. Tell me the exact number in a second. But just so you know, when you're looking at these are smaller. This side is smaller than these.
And the heights are all compliant. We're not
Everything's
speaking in.
compliant.
speaking in-
Everything on the height is compliant, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Questions for Anastasia? Was there anything else, Anastasia,
Jane.
that I missed?
No, I think in the architecture of the carriage building, we really went out of our way to try to mimic some historical references in the architecture with curved brick above the garages, garage doors. We've flared the roofs and added extra eave boards and some brackets in those eaves. So we really tried to make this building feel like a residential structure as opposed to like an apartment building that was really modern.
Couple questions about the bridge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can give you an exact square footage. Oh, I can't. Oh, it's here. Oh, 868.
And rendering shows front of the bridge has wonderful 24 windows.
Mm-hmm.
What is the back?
The same.
So, big day, that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that was on purpose. Thank you.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
On the rendering with the driveway, it shows in and out arrows, but Mr.
But it's only one. It's
Okay.
only one way.
Yeah, I
That
just wanted to
was
check.
the
I
renderer's
heard it's
mistake.
one way. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I had a question clarifying you said the 500 square foot apartment, it is not ADA accessible, but it has the elevator. And so I was confused by that discrepancy. Oh, the bathroom is the one that's not ADA? So the apartment's not ADA if the bathroom's not right. Yeah.
The elevator goes to an ADA apartment.
Okay.
The elevator is access to an ADA apartment, which is 596
Oh,
square
the
feet.
590 is the ADA accessible apartment.
Mhm.
I understand now. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, could I just ask, I'm
Sure.
sorry, just from an architectural standpoint, and I know Mr. Moss had earlier asked this, and I don't know if there's any legal significance to this, but is it is it one building or two buildings connected by the bridge? And just, I mean, are they going to be two separate addresses? Are they going to be, from a construction standpoint or occupancy standpoint, does it matter? Are there, separate dedicated parking areas, separate addresses, separate kitchens? I mean, just, and I don't know if there's any significance to it, but what is?
Let me just jump in. We consider it to be a single building. It will have a single address. And even though we had talked about signage, for example, there's a sign for the 199 and one for 205 as existing conditions. We would simply, let's assume that it's going to go with 199. We would keep the two signs, but have them both indicate 199.
And can the people who occupy the building on the left freely walk into the building on the right, or?
Yes,
Okay,
sure.
and there's no separate doors per se?
Well, they're two individual entrances. Like there's an entrance at 199 and then there's an entrance over here. I mean, that's going to be an internal management discussion of who walks in which doors. If you are Smallwood Associates and you're primarily in the left side of 199, you're going to walk in that door. If you are a therapist who's working out of the right side of 199, you're going to walk in that door. I think that's the purpose of the two signs. But once we connect the two buildings, it all becomes one under the building code.
All right, so it becomes one under the building code and.
And however they manage the location of who goes where. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board for this witness?
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up on one last thing you said there. One of the variances is to increase the number of signs on the lot because there's 2 signs now, but we're going to combine the lots into one, and so that's why we need a variance for multiple signs, right? And so I think I heard you say that the intent for the 2 signs is to show visitors which of the entrances to use, right?
Wayfinding, really, like what tenant is located where. So in a building such as this, which is technically one building, you sort of walk to the front of it and then you figure out, okay, do I have to go to the left? Do I have to go to the right?
Sure.
You know, it's really just wayfinding. It's not a big sign.
Okay, thanks.
I have a question.
Sure.
Can we just go back to the height of the residential structure, please?
Yes.
It does look like it's taller, correct, than the front building? Can you let us know how tall the residential structure is?
The residential structure, average mean height meets ordinance. The average mean, are you
What's
looking?
the total, like how tall is it?
Well, it changes. It has different heights all the way along.
Okay, at
With the
at the
tallest
tallest
The
point.
tallest
it's all
point is
the-
43 feet,
And what's the tallest point in the front building?
38.
So it
So
is
you
taller.
do see it from the back, like,
This
didn't
piece-
somebody say you don't?
This
you
piece
don't
only.
See it?
Well, at the perspective of from the street, it is so far back, you won't see it. We did the rendering in order to show you that, and you could see it here. It's a true rendering, so it was done from a computer model, so you don't see it from the front. You will
In
see
that
the
angle,
sides.
right, but that's the short part of the building. What about the tall part?
The tall part of the building would be seen on this side. And you can't see it because of this. It's just the perspective. If you were straight on elevation, as a bird flies, you could see it, but not in perspective.
And you said it was 38, I'm sorry, 40.
38 feet for 205 and 37.6 for 199.
That's the highest point.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the rear building, the
The
highest
building
point,
is 43, and then this is 14 and 9 is 23, 31.
31.
I did math.
And then Jackie is, I'm sorry.
Does 43 trigger a height variance?
I'd have to check the,
Nope.
let
It-
me,
the
we'd have to check the definition.
in the code, it was the average mean height, and that's what we calculated. And looking at that average mean height, we met the ordinance.
Never heard that.
So Jackie, just because the tippy top of a building might be 43 feet under our ordinance, and we'll
You
check
might,
it.
yeah, you might have to, I have to check, but usually you take all 4 corners and you average.
Right.
What
Mhm.
it is on all 4.
But this building has more than 4 corners, so we averaged it from all the corners.
Yeah. So it might mathematically not trigger it. We'd have to check it. But you can see like one side is much taller than the required. But by
And the reason for that is, like, if we were to lower the roof, we had internal design discussions about that. And we didn't want to flatten the roof on the left side of this building and stay out of character with the Victorian homes that are right there. So we could do a 4 and 12 pitch, something you'd see in a home that was built in the 70s or maybe even the 80s. And that's not something we wanted to do. So this was an intentional 12 on 12 pitch to keep the dormers in the shape that they are, to keep the side in the shape that it is. So that's how we got to the height we got to. And it was intentional. It's not, oh, let's make the building as tall as we can. We're not hiding anything underneath it. It was about the architectural presence of the building.
Yeah, I mean, I think it looks really nice. I just want to clarify, if we need a waiver, let's make sure we give a waiver. I don't want to have to
Agree.
approve something and then
Yep.
come back.
No, but it was an intentional design decision to keep that roof pitch.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Any questions from?
Can I ask a
Sure.
question? So, Mr. Smallwood had alluded to there being,
Talk into the mic.
I'm sorry, Mr. Smallwood had alluded to,
have it on.
there being considered other,
There you go.
other, alternatives like, constructing additions to the, rear of the existing buildings. Can you tell us a little bit about what those looked like and why they were rejected?
They were very schematic in nature. They were only in 2 dimensions. We did it as an exercise to have the knowledge. We didn't do it as an architectural exercise because it was not something he was interested in. He really was very, very steadfast on preserving the 2 buildings.
Okay.
Any questions from the public for this witness?
Sorry, we'll just go back to the height. When you revise your plans, can you show us how you calculated your building height and the averages?
Of course.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Moss, you're back on, previously sworn.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. Just want to make sure for the record's purposes that I understand what's going on. So 199 and 205 is going to get a bridge that's going to be pretty good size, but the rest of the footprint of 199 and 205 is not going to change.
No, that is incorrect.
That's
The
correct.
footprint of 199 stays exactly as it is. The bridge is new, and the footprint of 205 extends to the rear.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
With regard to these new residential, the proposed residential units, I understand they're going to be rentals, right? Is there an affordable housing aspect of this application?
That's not my expertise. I defer to the lawyer.
Who would I ask? Mr. Brodsky?
Well, I mean, whatever we have to comply with with respect to the affordable housing laws, we will have to do. I think on this size development, Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's probably a contribution.
Well, and Jackie, is the contribution at 5 above?
I can answer that. Yeah, so any development between 5 and 10 units has to just pay a development fee
Okay.
into the trust fund.
Yeah, so what he was
Yeah,
saying.
yeah, so they don't have to produce affordable housing, they have to make a payment to the municipal affordable housing trust fund.
Not a unit and dedicated, it's a payment instead.
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
But let me just add a clarification, Mr. Moss. Even though they don't fall under affordable housing, because they're more than 4 units, they will fall under the Red Bank rent control ordinance.
Thank you, Mr. Light.
Any other questions from the public?
William Hardigan,
Thank you.
Anastasia, is it? First question is, did you ever try to design a structure that would comply with the current zoning requirements?
No,
Okay. My next question is, how many windows are in the rear of the property facing the houses on Hudson Avenue?
2.
2 windows?
Yeah, one of the, we were thinking that minimizing how many windows overlooking the other property would be a benefit as opposed to a negative. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but these are small up here, windows.
How high do the windows go up?
17 feet maybe to the bottom of this windowsill,
To the bottom of that windowsill?
14 feet and up a little bit. That's about here. And it's about a 5-foot window.
It's a 5-foot high window, you think, give or take?
4.5 feet. So 21 feet to the top of the window, but nobody's head is that tall. So I would say it's, the middle of the window is where somebody's head is, 20 feet from the ground, which is typical to, excuse me.
Did you do a study on that?
No, your head height and my head height are completely different, but it's typical to a 2-family residential house, these windows. If you were putting a house in the backyard, that's about where the 2nd floor story windows would be in a typical home like yours.
do you think it'll have a impact on the privacy of the rear property?
No. It was designed intentionally to not have an impact.
Well, how high? So there's a 6-foot fence.
Yes.
The windows are, did you say 17 feet to the bottom?
To the bottom of the window, yeah.
And then 5 feet high is the window.
Yeah, but if you were to build a two-family house in the back of this property, the windows would be at the same height. There's no windows up here. If you see how this was all kept with the higher section of the building has no windows on purpose. So it really gave you more privacy.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from the public for this witness? Okay, we'll close that portion.
Okay.
Who's next?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have our traffic engineer stepping forward.
We got about a half an hour left,
I
so
hear you. Very fast talker.
hopefully, no, he is not. And there's gonna be a lot of questions, so.
That I can't control.
All right, good evening and welcome back to the Red Bank Zoning Board. If you could just state your name and business address, please.
Sure. John McCormick, Dynamic Traffic, 1904 Main Street, Lake Como.
Okay, do you swear that the information and testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, to the best of your knowledge, to help you God?
I do.
Thank you. And for the record, you're testifying tonight in your capacity as a licensed,
Traffic engineer.
and your qualifications and certifications are all current and up to date
Sure.
and in good
Yes.
standing?
Yes.
Okay, and why don't you just explain to some of our new board members and the public some of your qualifications?
Very good. I have a bachelor's of civil engineering from Villanova University. I've been practicing traffic engineering for over 30 years. I've been licensed as a New Jersey professional engineer for over 30 years. I've sat at boards, had Jackie's job. I've also prepared testimony for private developments throughout the state.
And for the record, I believe you've been testified in front of this board on a number of occasions.
Absolutely have.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. All right, John, let's start with, what you were asked to look at from a traffic perspective with respect to this development, and then what your findings were, and we'll go from there.
Sure. Okay. So you have my traffic and parking impact study dated December 18th of last year. We'll talk about a few things. We'll talk about the access, which Andy already talked about. We'll talk about traffic generation and the comparison between the existing buildings and what they could generate, and then the proposed site plan. We'll talk about the driveway operation. Even though I'll say the traffic is very minimal, the driveway operation is very standard and it's county jurisdiction. So we'll say that up front, but I'll get to the details. And then we'll talk parking. I'm sure that's all that everyone wants to talk about. So when we talk about the access, Andy mentioned it, we're improving the access. I'm not going to say significantly, but we're improving the access. We're taking 2 full movement driveways coming out to a county road, and we're converting them into a one-way in and a one-way out. We're simplifying the driveways. We're consolidating. We're reducing the number of movements and conflicting movements. It's the driveway alignment and the proposed plan is significantly better than the existing. It's under county jurisdiction, so they will ultimately review and approve it. I don't see anything on the plan that indicates that they would do anything other than that. Let's talk about trip generation. There's 2 office buildings here. It's almost 7,000 square feet of space. It's going to be proposed to be almost 10,000 square feet, so a couple thousand square feet of office and the 6 apartments. It's really not a significant difference when you talk about traffic generation between proposed and existing. We looked at the small office building in the ITE. You guys have all heard ITE, Institute of Transportation Engineers. Basically, this property, when it's all said and done, in the morning would generate about 18 trips. It's about 13 coming in and 5 out. And in the afternoon, about 24 trips, 9 coming in, 15 out. That's the whole property, and that's the peak hour. And remember, this is office, so it's very much peaking. Most of the traffic during the day is in that peak hour. Those are the total numbers, 18 and 24 in an hour. The difference is 7 trips in the morning. That's the difference. When you talk about a couple thousand square foot of office space and a couple of apartment units, you increase the traffic by 7 trips in an hour in the morning. And you increase the traffic by 9 trips in an hour in the afternoon. So just to put that in perspective, right? We can all do the math. It's a car every 5, 6, 8 minutes, what have you. It's really minimal. Broad Street, just to give you a little bit more perspective, has about 800 to 900 trips in an hour, going back and forth. 300, 400 in one direction, 300, 400 in the other direction. We're talking about adding 7 in that hour, adding 9 in that hour. So to be honest with you, it's imperceptible. As I said, we analyze the driveways. The county would require us to do that just because we're turning one into a one-way, one into a one-way out. Again, I said it simplifies the levels of service, as you've heard traffic engineers say. That's kind of our grading system for the intersection operation. It goes A through F, just like in school. These driveways operate at B and C, only because, you know, the Broad Street has some traffic on it, so they have to wait a couple seconds to get out. It doesn't change when you add the 3,000 square feet and the 6 apartment units. It's levels of service B or level of service C. There's virtually no impact and no change. And again, all this stuff will have to be looked at by the county because it's their jurisdiction. Okay, let's hit the parking because that's why we're here, right? So Andy laid a lot of groundwork. I'll just hit some of the numbers again. We're providing 34 spaces on site. We're providing 28 spaces in the lot and 6 garages, right? Let's talk about how this is a perfect shared parking model, right? How is this property going to work? You had John up here. He's an owner operator. He's going to manage this property. There's going to be little sets of rules and regulations in these leases, et cetera. It's written in my report what the plan is. The plan is for weekdays, right? Let's talk weekdays 9 to 5, 9 to 6, 8 to 5. Pick something like that, business hours. The parking lot will be used by obviously office employees and their clients. Okay, the residents, if they have a second car, are going to have to move their car off. If in fact it finds that the office needs the spots. The garages will obviously be apartment tenants. They have the garages. And Broad Street, which is the hidden gem of this whole project, will be any apartment tenants, or if the second car is not leaving the property to go to work, they'll put the car on Broad Street. Now let me talk about Broad Street. Broad Street between Harding Road to the north and Bergen Place to the south. It's basically 4 blocks. We're almost dead in the middle, 2 to the north, 2 to the south. You can park on both sides of Broad Street for 2 hours, 8 to 6, except resident permits. So the resident permits can exceed the 2 hours and can park overnight. On those, I'll call it 8 blocks, right? 2 up, 2 down, both sides. There's about 100 spaces. So there's 96 spaces within 2 blocks of this property on Broad Street, right in front. I talked to, let me just get the name right, Bill Wilk of the Red Bank Parking Utility. I specifically asked him the question. He said residents of this property would be eligible for resident parking passes. So those parking passes would allow a resident to park on the street either all day, exceed the 2 hours, or overnight, exceed the overnight restriction. So essentially, there's 96 spaces in the front yard that are available. And I'll get to the counts because we did some counts and we know exactly how many are available. Let's just get to that now. So we did a 12-hour recording. Actually, it was 13 hours. It was 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So counted both ends. And during that time period, there was 24 vehicles parked on the street, on Broad Street, and I'll call them on those 8 segments, right? 2 blocks north and 2 blocks south. That was at 12 noon, 24 vehicles. So that leaves 72 on-street spaces during the peak current on-street parking condition. So
could you clarify 24 was the max? It wasn't 24 over that entire 13-hour period. It was
the max. There was 22 in an hour. There was 18 in an hour. It went down to 5 or 6,
sure,
quite honestly. And it significantly drops off the further south you go.
What date did you do the study?
That was October 29th of 25. Okay. And it was that long ago because that's how long we've been brought on the project, quite honestly. I drive up and down Broad Street routinely, and the parking looks very similar every day. There's a lot of parking up top, up by the Harding, which I think is probably because of the apartments or what have you. It's diagonally across the street, and it just fades out the further you go south.
John, sorry, can you clarify the length, like where again the study was from Broad
Sure.
Street, from where to where?
Yeah, from Harding, so up at the traffic light, 2 blocks north, up by the post office or diner, if you want to call it that, and then 2 blocks south, East Bergen, the other light.
Thank you.
Right. So it's essentially 4 blocks. The southernmost block is a bit longer, but it's essentially 4 blocks. It's the same regulations on both sides, which is 2-hour time limit, 8 to 6, except residential permits.
And John, that was a weekday, not a holiday, not a special.
Yeah.
Wednesday.
It was a typical weekday.
Wednesday.
School was in session. People were,
Right.
going to and from work. It was nothing special. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna leave it there,
Okay.
Rick. And if the
Yeah.
board has questions, we can obviously dig in as much as you like. But essentially, just to wrap up, the access is being improved. The trip generation differential is minimal, and the parking will be managed. And not only is the parking on site sufficient for Mr. Smallwood's business and the anticipated business moving forward, but the on-street capability and the on-street supply is so significant that that's going to help, any condition that anyone is concerned about. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Rick.
Questions?
Question.
Yeah, I asked before about bike racks, and so I think it was the engineer testified that there will be bike racks. How much bicycle storage will we be adding to the property, and where would we put the bike racks on this plan?
Do you guys require half a space per unit or something like that? I would expect to be 1 rack.
Okay.
It'll hold 6 bikes, 5 bikes, 10 bikes. I don't know how many bikes. I think people that own bikes in these apartments are going to put them in the garage.
So it would be intended for the residents, of the apartments, not for visitors to
I think
the
it could be
office.
both. I think it could be both. I don't know. Andy will find a spot for it, but it looks like there's a piece of lawn at the north corner of the 199, maybe by the ADA parking spots. Maybe that's a spot for it. I don't think it's going to be this tremendous bike rack. The need is not there for something tremendous. The need is there just to have a place to lock a bike.
Yeah, no, I understand. I was trying to clarify who it would be for, though, right? Will there be enough bike parking for both the tenants?
I think a single rack would
We
be
do it.
enough, but I think if you live there, you're going to put your bike in the garage.
Okay.
That would be my guess.
Sure.
I think, Mr. Gilday, there's room to have 2 racks, maybe, one closer to the commercial building, to the office building, and then one for the residences. We'll show that on a revised plan.
John, do you share my observation that behind all these houses converted to offices on Red Bank and Maple, the parking tends to be half full or less?
Absolutely.
My observation is there's a lot of spaces behind these houses that are never used.
Absolutely. It's the type of use that you have on that street.
Yeah.
And that's what Mr. Smallwood said, is that, he's got 10 employees and some of them are remote and some of them are this and that. And just the demand this is not a data center. You know what I mean? This is a different type of
It's not medical.
it's not medical office. Exactly right.
It seems my observation in the commercial parking in Red Bank, even in central Red Bank, often the dedicated parking is often not used by many of the tenants down there. Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions from the board?
Will there be any parking spots for electric?
Yes, there will be. There has to be. I forget. Andy will have the number. It's a couple,
What about in the garage?
I don't know if the garage is going to be wired
Okay.
for a charger. Yes? No. Yeah, the garages will be wired for a charger.
And how many EV spaces? 9 EV spaces.
9 EV ready, right? 6 ready and 3 chargers? Yeah, 3 chargers immediately and 6 of them have to be EV ready and they get put in over time. That's state state statute, and we will satisfy that, obviously, yes.
Any other questions from the board? Any questions? Okay, Jackie.
All right, quick question.
Yes.
You show two-way circulation. You show one-way circulation through the driveways and then two-way through the parking lot. Can you just explain your thought process, considering the fact that you're asking for a waiver for this, for the depth of spaces?
Yeah, I didn't do the rendering with the two-way arrows. That's how I'll explain it. This is going to be a one-way parking lot, essentially. I know you intimated that maybe we should angle the parking or do something to further enforce the one-way circulation, but I like the 90-degree parking the way it is. I think there's going to be arrows, as Andy mentioned, and some signs in the parking lot that just reinforce the one-way. Remember, the residents are in the back, it's office employees. You know, we're going to have maybe 2 or 3 people a day that, you know, maybe have not been on the site before, and maybe they have because they're clients. So I think the one-way is going to be very evident if we do a couple of pavement markings.
The whole thing is going to be
Yes.
one-way? Okay.
Yes.
And
And
you're going
that-
to have a 24-foot wide aisle for a one-way?
Yes.
Because of the.
The aisle is, yes, the aisle width is more related to the angle of the parking spaces than the direction of travel. But yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And John, if you look at the color rendering, right, that's the arrowed parking.
It's
for
these
the
two
ingress-
sets
I mean,
of arrows.
The ingress egress off of Broad.
Yeah, so 199 will be the ingress. 205 essentially will be the exit. It's just these 2 sets of arrows, you know, because the aisle is 24, I guess Andy's draftsman put the 2, but there's really no need. There's no need for an apartment resident to come back this way. You know, you're going to come in, you're going to find a spot, and you're going to park easily. So the one way is much smoother. That is the intent.
Can you talk about loading and unloading, please?
Sure. Well, I mean, we talked about the width and the height under the bridge, right? That's the critical aspects. As Andy indicated, the fire department has mentioned that their fire apparatus goes under the bridge and can fit through there. I agree with the idea to try to get a little bit more width underneath the driveway. The height is fine. It's the width a little bit more, maybe center it between the buildings as opposed to one-sided where it is now. But trust us, there's no one that wants that driveway and that overpass to work more than we do and John does. So it'll fit not only the largest fire truck that the town has, all the garbage trucks, the U-Haul trucks for people moving in, the Amazon delivery vans, all that stuff is smaller than the fire truck. So we have no issue with the 12-foot 8 clearance and no issue with the 9 feet 6 inches or 9 feet 7 inches. But I think we are going to look into making that a little wider, the width.
But where is loading going to be staged?
For the office buildings, I think they're going to find a parking spot, quite honestly. Or they're just going to stand in the aisle like they kind of do now. I mean, we're talking about Amazon or a FedEx truck in and out. Right now, if you think about it, these 2 buildings are kind of dead-end parking lots. So this is a significant improvement over that. It allows that truck to free flow through, not have to K-turn and go back out. You know, for move-in and things like that, you know, it'll be managed. It'll be weekends. The parking lot will be empty, and a U-Haul truck will be able to sit virtually anywhere.
And John, really, we're talking about FedEx deliveries. I mean, there's no large trucks coming onto the site.
No. And no, FedEx trucks, single box trucks, all of those things obviously fit the width and the height under the bridge.
Okay, any questions from the public for this witness? I don't know.
Till under oath, just state your name for the record.
William Hardigan.
Thank you.
Did this study that was done, did it account for like holidays and summer peak hours and weekends and such?
Typically, the industry standard is for an office and apartment is to do a typical weekday morning and evening study. So No, we don't want to look at holidays. We don't want to look at days when school is out. We won't want to look at those abnormal days. We want to look at a typical day to have a typical condition.
You know, the traffic to that light on Broad has been an issue for our street. Hudson Ave became a cut through because of it.
Okay.
So, you know, in my opinion,
At Bergen?
I'm not, what's that?
Or at which?
Hudson Ave became a cut through. So, you know, coming on Broad up to Harding,
Okay.
that's why it became a cut through essentially. You know, it's just, it becomes backed up.
Yeah.
So, in, you know, my opinion, I'm not a traffic engineer, but any added traffic there becomes an issue. So my question is, how would that affect another, you know, residential street like Waverly, where, you know, people don't want to stop at that light, they come out, they want to cut through and get to, you know, Maple. Have you done a study on how it would affect that street?
Well, quite honestly, we have to go to the county because the driveways are on the county, Broad Street's county jurisdiction. The volumes that I've indicated, the county does not require, even the study that we did for the town, they don't require it. They set minimums of, you know, trips per hour. And we, like I said, we're less than 10 trips added in the hour. Their minimum is 50 trips in an hour to even look at something. So yes, there is going to be a resident that wants to cut across and go up Waverly, or yeah, there's going to be an added car or two here or there. But, you know, when you look at the numbers, it's insignificant. The daily variation through town is so much more than the numbers that we're talking about. You know, just any kind of regular daily variation in traffic is probably 5-10 times the traffic that we're talking about.
I just think we have such an issue at that intersection in particular, and I don't know if there's been a study or if you guys have a plan to maybe, you know, change the intersection, but I saw somebody get hit at that intersection myself, and I had to get out and help the gentleman, and an ambulance came, and you know, it wasn't pretty.
Sure.
But there's been a lot of issues at that intersection of people trying to jump the light and trying to get through. Where, you know, I don't know if, you know, other people that have gotten hit. I haven't looked into it, but it's been a concern of mine with my kids. You know, going to town, that intersection is my biggest fear. You start adding traffic from any place in that area, especially there on Broad Street, coming in and out, it's an issue, in my opinion. What about you know, construction trucks coming in and out of there when it's being, you know, developed? That's, again, that brings me to my point with the fear of pedestrians in particular. You know, getting hit. Like and when you're talking, you know, there could be a lot of blind spots. I don't know how that coming in and out of those areas, if there's, you know, any blind spots with cars parking on the street, I'd have to, you know, look into it, but I'd be concerned about, you know, pedestrian traffic more than anything. And it's not the widest street in that area when you're going from the proposed project to Harding on Broad. So the added construction traffic, again, you know, this is new to me. Like, I'm just asking questions because I have concerns. Have you sat down with the local police department and the fire department, emergency services, and discussed this plan and the level of parking and, you know, everything that goes into it?
Well, Andy Comey, the design engineer, we finally got connected with the fire department this morning. And that was, quite honestly, the most important conversation to have. I don't know, does the board send to traffic safety officers or police department? I'm not 100% sure, but we would welcome a meeting with the traffic safety officer, discuss any concerns they have.
Yeah, I think that would be essential. I know, you know, you're downplaying, which is fine. I'm not, you know, I hold nothing against you, but you're downplaying any addition in that vehicle traffic, truck traffic. I mean, Amazon is so frustrating. Like, they might pull in there into the back and do their deliveries, but they park anywhere they damn well please. And, you know, that creates blind spots. That creates issues where people are trying to pull out. Maybe somebody could get hit. There's a lot of variables.
And like I said before, this site plan allows those vehicles to pull in. I don't know if right now some of the drivers may not want to pull in because it's a dead end parking lot, but now they know They're going to be able to come in very easily, one way in, loop around, and one way out. I think that's a significant improvement as far as the access for this little piece of property.
If you're correct and there's going to be, ample parking, I mean, obviously it doesn't meet the standards, but you don't know how, you don't know how many cars residents will have and I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to say, but a lot of people have a couple vehicles. Now I know the units are small, but a lot of people, people have more than one vehicle. But let's see here. What was the methodology that was used to determine that fewer spaces are sufficient for these zoning requirements?
So we did two different things. One, we looked at, and I kind of jumped over this and I apologize. We looked at the existing actual demand, right? John mentioned before, he's got like 9 or 10 or 13 employees, 9 or so of them are there. We counted his parking lot and sure enough, there was 9 cars in it. So and I think there was one client. So we had 10 vehicles parked, 10 vehicles parked, and there were 9 employees on the site because there was a client there at the time in the middle of the day. So his actual demand is like 1.1 spaces per employee. And I think that's a much better way to gauge parking than square footage. I honestly believe that 5 spaces per 1,000 is antiquated in an office setting. So we looked at his actual demand, 1.1 spaces per employee. He's been saying that, we might have 20 employees on this site. He might have 15 of them. There might be 5 in the other building. So, we're in the 20s at the highest point of parking demand, and we have 28 spaces in the parking lot. And we have the entire street for guests if they need it. The other way we looked at it is we looked at the ITE. ITE is the Institute of Transportation Engineers. It's an industry standard that helps us estimate trip generation, like traffic generation, and parking demand, right? The ITE says that the average parking demand is 1.3 spaces per employee. That's the need, right? So if you multiply that out by, say, the 20 employees, right? Now we're at 25 or 26 spaces. We have 28. Plus we have 70 something on the street. So the parking on the site, I'm not going to say it's not tight. I think it fits perfectly with what John has envisioned, but there's 70 spaces within, I think, 300 feet of the building on street that people can use. Not only can the residents will be able to use it with their permit, but clients and even, even an employee that pops in for a meeting can use the on-street if needed. So it's the ultimate fallback for this site. We are very confident in the parking. It has never been an issue in my mind at all.
It seems a little anecdotal to me, the way you've, figured it out, but I mean, I don't know. I think Red Bank definitely has a parking issue, and I know you're tucked back more from the center of town, but it definitely, obviously, there's no secret that there's a major issue with parking in the town of Red Bank. Now, will these, overflow of vehicles, will they go to streets like Waverly? Will they go to streets like Hudson? I don't know.
There's no need. There's plenty of parking right in front of the buildings. Plenty of parking.
Okay. That's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the public? We're gonna make this short because we're about ready to wrap it up, so.
Just your name and.
Thomas Jones.
Thank you. You're still under oath. Thank you.
I heard a term before that I wasn't familiar with. It was turning templates.
Sure.
And I'm looking at your drawing. This is the first time I've seen.
Please, so we can, everybody hear you.
I'm sorry?
Speak into the mic so
Oh,
everybody can
sorry.
hear you. Thanks.
New at this. First time I've seen your picture, but it looks like it comes in, it's almost like a circular pattern.
That's right.
So if I was driving a fire truck that's 30 feet long, is there enough space near the residential units to make those turns?
That's what these are Mr. Comey's plans. We are going to put those turning templates on that plan, and we are going to discuss it with the fire department.
Okay, so that hasn't been addressed yet.
It was addressed verbally this morning
Wow.
between
That
Mr.
was, I heard the width the width of the driveway was discussed this morning.
The
I didn't
fire
hear
department
about
has
the-
seen the plans and they had a conversation
That's
about
fine.
it. Yeah.
And the same thing with any big truck coming in, but okay.
Yeah,
Sounds
we
good.
welcome the input from the fire department. We want this site to succeed
Right.
more than anybody in the room.
Okay.
Yes.
That was a question. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Very
Okay.
good.
Any other questions from the public? Okay, close public.
I just have one quick question.
Okay.
You mentioned part of your methodology was to look at how many employees he currently has working there.
Mhm.
Does ITE have a rule of thumb estimate for how many employees a 10,000 square foot office building supports?
It's a good question. I probably don't have it here. That's something I'm going to have to get back to you, but they typically do. I don't know if they have it for this land use, but they have different variables that they pull out when they collect the data. I would expect that could be one. I'm going to have to look into it and get that back to you.
Okay, thank you. I'd appreciate it.
Okay.
All right, so Mr. Chairman, we're at our witching hour, so I'm assuming we're going to, Mr. Brodsky is going to ask us to adjourn, and with the requirement that there be no further notice. And just real quickly, at the risk of overstepping my bounds, obviously, I don't know if I've got no inside information. I don't know if the application is going to ultimately be approved with conditions, or be denied. But just to make a more efficient hearing process, just a couple real quick questions. I know during the hearing, there was some discussion about, hey, can we see what the rear elevation is going to look like? Is that something you want to see now or soon, or we don't have to worry about that now and we'll deal with it later? If it's now, we would just say that. Same thing, Jackie, you had said about that, the height, how the height calculation formulas were calculated. I would imagine, Rick, if you could get that document to us, we could submit that. And the same thing, there was a discussion with, or the witness had indicated that if it was desired, they could meet with the traffic safety or fire officials. And if that's the case, and if that's what you want, I would say maybe you suggest that they do it, maybe they can get it done before the next hearing. If you're not interested in that, we don't have to bring that up. And then the same thing with Vince's, we'll get information on that office, IT office classification number. But anyway, are those types of things that you would want the applicant to work on getting us sooner rather than later, or we don't have to worry about that?
Kev, so I just want to clarify. So the plans do have the rear elevation
Okay.
of the residential building.
Okay.
I don't know if you were looking to have it rendered
Well, Jackie did mention she'd love to see the calculation for how you.
for the height,
Yeah.
for sure.
All right, so Mr. Chairman, I understand that there's availability to continue this hearing on August 20th, 2026 at 6:00 PM. So, Mr. Brodsky, is that date okay with you, August 20th? I'm sorry, 6:30. August 20th.
That's what he said.
No availability in July.
I think we only have
No,
one
we have
meeting.
one meeting.
It's the July 4th. I don't know.
I think there's only one in August, too. Only one in August.
All right, so let me ask this, Mr. Brodsky, do you, on behalf of your client, consent to extend the time frame within which the board has to act on this matter?
Yeah.
Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, before you leave, there's going to be a motion to carry this application until August 20th, 2026 at 6:30 PM. So what that means is there's not going to be any further notice. You're not going to get another certified letter. This is your notice. So if any of your friends couldn't come tonight or any of your friends left early, let them know. It'll be on the borough website presumably as well. So is Mr.
Yes?
William Hardigan, I don't know if it matters, but I am traveling in London, England during those dates, and this affects me I would really like to be here for these hearings.
I mean, all we can do, I certainly appreciate that. Certainly, you're very interested, and I appreciate, the board appreciates, that in and of itself is not always a determining factor. I would have to ask Mr. Brodsky, are you willing to change the meeting date to accommodate that?
I can't, we can't do that. I mean, if the board could see us in July, we certainly would do that. Okay.
There is September date. What's the September date? September 3rd and the 17th.
Not really fair to ask the applicant to wait that long. Actually, I'm not available on the 3rd.
Well, it's up to you, Mr. Brodsky.
I think we'll hold on the August date.
August 20th. All right. So Mr. Hartigan, you can obviously be in touch with Mr. Brodsky. But there's a motion, if it's the desire of the board, a motion to carry this application to August 20th, 2026, 6:30 PM without the need for any further public notice. Is there a motion to
Yeah,
that
I'll make
effect?
that motion. All in favor? Just do the all in favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, thank you. Okay,
Much.
20th. Motion to adjourn.